At the meeting, the boy slams the plan for war against the people. The mage calls him a thief for stealing land from nobles weakened by the Demon King's army. The hero captain snapped, livid that anyone would dare call him a thief. Founded to crush the Demon King, the Order of Schwartz is now an elite knightly force. Joshua's childhood friend, Captain Loeg, dominated the battlefield and earned the title of Count. Everything changed. Nobles swarmed the palace for non-stop banquets, flaunting wealth and women while the wine never ran dry. Joe warns it's an invasion, but the Count shuts him down. Logan invited Joe as the Order's veteran manager, but after hearing nothing but complaints, Joe roared his name. Joe vows his magic will never harm the innocent. Joe drops a bombshell. He wants to get back together. He refuses to serve a group that attacks people. The egg sank silently. Joe ignored the humans. The Demon King's army was the real target now. Log shatters the silence, shouting for Joe. Pointing his finger, the boy declares he doesn't need him. Log grabs the sword, noting he mostly makes junk. He slammed the sword down. This junk, one to stop, a demon horde. The crowd mocks him, backing Loa. They call the magician a ripoff that money could buy way better gear. He wondered if the order was finally done with him. Log accepts, then snaps that he has no use for rebels and kicks them out. Those words shook him to his core. Joe remembers Logan's words. His pistol was the best. The boy accepts Loga's terms. Your wish is my command. Joshua lurks by the door. Their mockery crushed him, leaving the boy in total despair. Medias is split, humans north, demons south. Joshua just quit the order and is hitting the southern front for work. He needed a way to make money. He uses creation magic to craft anything in a special dimension by combining elements as long as he has the materials. Everything's ready? Everything is ready, so he grabs his pack and visa. Something felt off. He sensed it instantly. A man appears and bolts ahead. Nearby, he spots an injured girl struggling to stand and flee. Joe stops the girl, demanding to know why she's here. A voice barks for her to stop, mocking her as a lowly half-demon. The crowd roared, eyeing her as a trophy to sell with the wolf skin. They wanted to inspect her first, and Joe realized the grim truth: he was surrounded by slave traders. The boy demanded they stop. Shielding the girl, he demands to know if they forgot slavery is illegal here. The thugs demand his name, threatening to kill him like the rest. The boy's magic swallowed everything. Their weapon just vanished. The traders stunned. Where are his axes? Joe already smashed every single one. He warps their axes away, instantly reforging them into lethal new weapons. Magic brings Joshua's silver steel arrows to life. They fired arrows straight at the crowd. She watched in awe as he quickly crushed every opponent. Joe feels that old pre-fight rush after his long break. Luckily, these new enemies look like total pushovers. The wolf has already escaped. He asks if she's okay. She says she's fine and thanks him. Hearing she's safe, the girl collapses, clutching her side. Joe tells her to stay still and promises to save her. He instantly unleashes healing magic. Her wounds vanish, leaving her skin perfectly flawless. He's no doctor. His legs are fine, but that gut wound could still rip open. He was a master of fabric work. Joe asked to bandage her wound and she nods. The young man finished the wrap and yanked the knot tight. Grateful for the help, she finally introduces herself as Elijah and reveals she's a demon. Proving he remembered Elijah's name, the boy smiled and introduced himself as Joshua. She thanks him while rising, but a sharp pain sends her stumbling right into Joe's arms. She's weak from blood loss. Fearing she'll be jumped, he offers to walk her home. She rushed to apologize, but he cut her off instantly. He calmed her with a confident grin, handed Visa the pack, and told her not to worry. Jill scooped Elijah up. Her face instantly flushed red. Embarrassed, he asks if he should be carried her. Ilya just smiles. Everything is fine. Seeing the bodies, Joshua realizes he almost forgot the gear. One hand grips her tight, while the other stashes their gear in an extra dimension. She asks what he's doing. He reveals his creation magic, stashing everything in a magical storage. Elijah confidently explains the others are already prepping the celebration. She tells Joshua this is her home village. Stunned, he asks if she's for real. Their arrival sent security into a frenzy. A subordinate tells Asilia someone is looking for her. She calls him a man and drives a spear straight through his neck. The girl demanded they release the lady immediately. Elijah orders Matt to retreat. This kid saved her life. Asked about her husband again, she brushes it off. She doesn't believe in that stuff. Ilya's own words killed any shred of trust. Warriors swarm Joshua, spears locking him in with no escape. Refusing to fight, he sets the girl down as her eyes beam with gratitude. He apologized and tried to leave, but she stopped him. She hadn't thanked him yet and asked him to stay. She's stunned. Why is he apologizing? It was her fault and she never dares to stand up for herself. He breathed her name. A distant scream rings out. Someone's racing to warn them of the incoming threat. He says a teammate soloed an armored boar and got gored by its horn. Everyone cursed themselves for ignoring the warnings to never cross these guys. The legendary armored boar is real. It takes a dozen hunters just to bring this giant down. The girl shouts for Joshua. Ilya invited them to stay in the village to show his gratitude. Joe's healing was bottom tier, but he promised to give it his all. Tension spikes with every step toward the wounded man in his hideout. She pushes through the crowd, rushing to the guy to see if he's okay. Chuckling at his failure, the man apologized to Ilya for not scoring better meat for the kids. To save his kids, he recklessly charges the armored boar. The wounded demoness shocked to see a human, but she quickly tells him to stay calm. Trembling, she recounts her rescue and asks if he's okay. Joe's blunt, the wound is serious, and stopping the bleeding is his top priority. He realized the treatment would actually slow his recovery. Joshua can stop the bleeding, so he is forced to cauterize the wound, but he'll need a friend help. They asked Viz for his take. He shares his slime instantly, and the boy thanks him. Seizing the opening, I prepped a healing potion. Prep complete, he gave the signal to start. Patients were warned from the start, pain is coming. Suddenly he realized the pain was gone. The bleeding stops instantly, stunning the boy. Joe explains mucus potion acts like a bandage. Elijah eagerly asks if the wound is healed. Everyone's reeling from the miracle survival, and the girl is just as shocked. Relieved he survived, the man gives Joe his sincere thanks. They eyed the boy with pure gratitude. She's desperate to thank him for his support, but he just brushes it off as no big deal. The satellite orders Ilya to rest and heal, but she brushes it off. She's fine and ready for payback. Weakness hits her again, her name echoing in the cold. She refuses the break, stubbornly demanding her pay. She swore to protect him and never let him vanish. She's sent on vacation to recharge. She stared at the guy, her lips parting as if to speak. Met introduces herself and thanks them for saving Ilya and their friend. He shrugs off the thanks and turns to leave, but she stops him. Don't forget the princess' request. Metu explains that in his tribe, the princess's word is law. No arguments. Joe claims he's just ordinary, but she says people fear others way more than they hate them. She realized it instantly. He's far from ordinary. Yunka hesitates, but her next request is already brewing. Teeth clenched, she barely dared to ask. He suddenly seized his hand. Met demanded to learn at least some magic. While everyone else stayed away, he alone saved those in trouble. Monsters prize demon horns as the ultimate treasure. She offered her horn or her body to make it fair, but he shut her down instantly. He names her but admits he doesn't know enough magic to teach. He claims he can create anything, and she's impressed. Real mage creators are defined by their ability to craft anything. Joshua's promise to craft village essentials left Maddie beaming. Broken weapons littered the ground, long since useless. He inspects the weapon branch handles, stone and bone tips, and the occasional shard of obsidian. The boys hype things are going great, and she agrees at this rate, they'll finish prep in no time. The boy asks about bows and slings, but Met says they're useless. These villagers hunt by stalking and striking with spears. Seeing the stakes, he vowed to forge a weapon anyone could use. Joe mentions a crossbow, and the girl freezes. She's never heard the word before. Plan declared, he starts crafting a crossbow. She thinks the mystery photo is divine, but he just laughs. It's actually creation magic. He tells her to grab the new weapon. Met eyes the bow-axe hybrid and asks how it works. Joe steps up to show him how it's done. Joshua told Wiz to drop the sticks. He announced he's opening fire on them. Stunned, she's openly skeptical. Hitting a target from that range seems impossible. He effortlessly swatted the crossbow arrows away. Stunned by his impossible distance shot, Joe dares her to step up next. He suggests training before the hunt to test their skills. The shy girl nodded. The kids watched, mesmerized by the spectacle. She nailed the bullseye. She's hyped by her improved aim and obsessed with the gun. He nods. 5 straight hits out of 10 is a massive win. Smirking, she claims her special sign masters any weapon. Joe's stunned. He's never heard of such an ability. Everyone is born with a unique mark. Swordsman marks master the blade, while others unlock special skills, but non-human marks work differently. Med confirms Ashura is omnipotent, giving her god-tier abilities. She cuts him off, bragging her sign is incredible, and he figures she means his combat skills. Surprised, he says it's time to see it in action. He asks for entertainment, but she smiles. Only armored boars roam here, and they're the ones being hunted. These boars are the perfect first target, and Met agrees. Joshua says the spear kills boars easily, but asks if it works up close. Met admits she usually fights with a stick. Her words hit deep, and now he's changing his ways for her. He forged her a mace, surprised and hyped. She grabbed it, the perfect gift. She stares at the weapon, torn between shock and pure awe. Met likens the metal rods to bird wings, and the fear vanishes. Joshua beams with joy at her approval. Goodbyes are over. Time to move on. She spots a boar eating in the clearing, totally oblivious. It's their first target. He worried his head wasn't soft enough for it to fit, but she just smiled. Trust me. The predator grips his weapon and fires at the beast. That perfect strike thrilled her. I was thrilled by how easily I crushed this task. Joshua smiled, locking eyes with her. He ordered a thorough search, and Met instantly agreed. The mushrooms instantly track and herd the wild boars. Shocked, she soloed 3 bulls. She admires the weapons while the boy tells her to keep it down. Before they can apologize, a massive shadow towers over them. A massive armored boar towers before him. She took the fall, but he denied it, claiming the scent of blood lured him in. Met offers to be a decoy so he can escape, but he stops her, telling her not to rush or worry yet. She asks if he's ready, but Joe reveals the Demon King's army is already moving to crush them. That's why he and a friend dared to challenge one as kid. He'll easily block the predictable enemy, then she'll crush his skull with an iron mace she's in. He beat this as a kid. If he fails now, he's weaker than he was back then. His friend shouts a warning, watch out. He reassures her it's fine, then starts devouring. Joshua crafts stone spikes and hurls them at the pine's head. The boy hurls a sand-filled stone and yells to Meta, it's time to strike. She makes her move and goes on the offensive. She leaps, slams her mace into the tusked beast, and it roars in agony. He's buzzing after that victory. The boar slams into the dirt, defeated. She couldn't believe they actually beat the armored boar. Joe confessed and took a brutal beating for it. He realized simplicity beats the Demon King's cunning army. She's finally felt the crossbow and mace's true power. Met's hyped, admiring the insane weapons. That answer floored him. His old friend ignored his hard work, mocked his weapon, and called him a freeloader. Joshua recalled the last time someone actually thanked him. She calls his name, snapping him out of it. He stammers an apology, just glad to hear her voice. Joe promised to forge them even more weapons. Smiling, she suggests another way, promising to make it worth his while. Resting in his room, Ilya watched everything through the window. Met notes the clan can now hunt and learn from him. The boy smiles and agrees. That reaction filled him with pure joy. The loot stunned the clan. No one believed it soloed every enemy. Ignoring the doubt, she proudly claims she did it alone, all thanks to Arbot Joshua. Arbot stunned everyone, but they had no idea what he was truly capable of. Ilya couldn't believe he'd risk so much for them. She had no way to repay him, but Joe didn't want to thank. He's staying to craft weapons and tools for food and shelter, even promising to help hunt in his spare time. She looks at Met in shock, but he waves off her thanks with a warm smile. Night falls and the feast is on. Everyone, join the party now. Vowing to crack the wall's secret, he starts forging an ice axe. The boy snaps awake to the sound of birds. Finally had a peaceful night's rest is better. Let's try. I woke up feeling more rested and peaceful than ever. Wait, the prompt says cut filler. He exhales as Lady Ilya sleeps soundly by his side. Joshua saw the girl and froze. Ilya just left the tent. How is she back? Suddenly, a docking sound echoes. Beside him, Met lay still, gripping his hand tight. She whispered he wasn't going anywhere. The guy stands stunned as Ilya snaps his eyes open. She wakes up and says, good morning. Shocked, Joshua asks why they're there, but the girl quickly explains they're just warming him up. Met refused to let go, obeying Ilya's orders. Finally, the girl stopped mumbling and called her name. Unsettled, Ilya tells her to stop the sleep-talking nonsense. She woke up, stretched, scratched her neck, and chirped a good morning to Mrs. Elijah and Joshua. Wait, Nape is fine. She thanks him for yesterday and offers help, leaving him stunned and clueless on how to react. Met stands, and Joshua asks if she's hunting. She nods, heading out with yesterday's Arbot. He nodded, understood, and suggested arming the other demon. Everyone watches breathless as Joe forges their weapons. A bow, crossbow, and heavy mace litter the floor. The demon stared, fascinated by the boy's strange powers. Met grabs the bow, mentions her master archer grandfather, and demonstrates the perfect draw. Crack the bow shattered. She awkwardly apologizes, claiming she wasn't even trying. The boy's stunned she broke the pricey bow, but Joe brushes it off. He'll build a new one in. These demons are too strong. Bows are useless. Mrs. Elijah stands tall, drawing her bow. He asks if she can use it. She hesitated, but seeing the others join, he handed her an arrow. She grabs it and draws the string back again. She reaches out, and the arrow streaks straight into the forest. Elijah asks if she did it right. Joshua's stunned. The arrow flew way too far for her first shot. Maybe she's got a hidden talent for shooting. The compliment makes her blush. Joshua hands her arrows during a break, reminding her to keep training. Clutching her quiver, she gave a shy smile and thanked him. Eyeing the target, he orders her to stay put. She needs armor first. She panics, but he calmly explains he's taking her measurements using the wind. He slapped trash armor on the girl. The word is out. Everything's ready. Met marveled at the armorer's strength. Boar's horns were useless now, while Ilya was stunned by the lightning-fast crafting. Waving, she cheers everyone's going home soon. Joshua faced Lady Elijah. I asked if strong trees grow here. Endless blue skies popped against a massive green canopy. Jewel teaks are indestructible. Axes bounce off and fire one to touch them, making this the most valuable wood in the world. These trunks are massive. Even with a new steel axe, Joshua's in for a brutal grind to fell them. Forget the fight, he suggests checking more trees to boost their odds. He calls out, and Yelya's hyped to test their brand new axes. She swings happily under the tree as the boy watches. Sure she'll eventually handle it. The strike pierces the tree clean through, leaving the boy stunned. The girl cheered as the tree fell, but the boy froze in shock. He's shocked that tool shouldn't even dent a tree. Seeing Ilya's insane skill, the crew follows her lead. The girl hyped the axe as a treasure, but Joshua dismissed it as ordinary steel. Demons are far stronger than humans, and Ilias builds power 10 times faster than anyone else. Seeing the neatly stacked wood, Joe couldn't hide his hype. Trimming finished, she smiled but wondered how to move the heavy bales. He instantly stepped up, offering to carry it all. Yosip worries about tomorrow's food, but Elias steps up, promising to handle the supplies himself. Elijah flexes his power, but he's reminded there's always someone stronger. He's living proof, but this massive wood haul is perfect for crafting. He plans to build a palisade for night defense, but she awkwardly admits she has no clue what that is. Ilya warns that armored boars are terrorizing the village, raiding at night and leaving total chaos. Silence falls. She realizes the night hides danger, so he explains the new wall is being built to keep enemies out. He suggests heading back, asking for high ground near the village center. She leads him straight to the location and points, this is the spot. He asks if they're building anything, but Ilya sadly denies it. He presses her, and she reveals they only held festivals here. Joshua asks to build here. She smiles, promising the gods will be pleased. He says thanks and pivots straight to construction talk. He builds a massive tower right before her eyes, leaving her stunned. The village demons couldn't grasp the miracle rising on the hill. She gasps in awe. His work is on a scale she never imagined. He says he can handle easier jobs and leads Ilya upstairs. Reaching the top, the whole village unfolds below. She's never seen her home from this high, and he agrees the view is unreal. Joshua spots Meta and the hunters as Elijah confirms the hunt is going perfectly. He checks on her, noting all events are now visible. She agrees. No more monster ambushes. He demands constant surveillance to spot any danger early. He plans towers for every side. Mary agrees, promising to find sensitive recruits and thanking him. Joshua's building a palace and tasks Elijah with rallying peasants to gather stones. Elijah agrees instantly. The benefactor thanks her, vowing to build them massive walls. Everyone froze. The girl and her crew turned pale, breaking into a cold sweat. He raised a massive wooden wall, shielding the village from danger. The kid announces, everything's ready. She sneers, asking if he thinks he's a god. He replies that his success belongs entirely to them. Joshua guarantees they can finally rest. Mirrors hyped for the massive meat haul, and the crew is stunned by the wall's insane size. Juicy meat sizzles on skewer. Met's shocked by the massive boar haul, and Ilya agrees it's all thanks to Joshua. She smiles, crediting him for everything as a wall suddenly surrounds the village. Ilya agrees it's a miracle straight out of a dream. The princess announces she's leaving the company for a while. Elijah offers help. Joshua says they're fine, and Met declares it's her turn to look after him. She's already gone. She asks how the meat is, and he loves it. Joe asks who taught her to cook, and Mitt credits her mother's secrets. Joshua raved about the perfect seer. The guy credited her parents for the skill, and she nodded in agreement. She credits her parents and Mrs. Elijah for her success, while the boy notes the former chief shaped every tribe member's destiny. Met doesn't hesitate. He's still meeting the orc. He asks about the Orcs, and she reveals their dark past 10 years ago. They invaded, crushed the humans, and claimed the land as their own. 10 years ago, humanity lost the first war, and the Demon King's armies surged north to seize power. Humanity lost everything, but the boy didn't know demons suffered too. Met was just a kid and lacked the full story. She took the kids and Mrs. Elijah to the southern ravines to play. Peace shattered as the kids spotted monster shadows. Soon, massive orcs loomed on the horizon. To demons, horns are worth a fortune. Deal struck with the orc leader, but the demon hunt starts anyway. The orcs spot Ilya's massive horn, and they'll stop at nothing to claim it. A girl shields the group, screaming for them to run. She's horrified, but Métis sneaks behind the orc, ready to strike. The orc slams her down, calling her a worthless insect. A massive rock hurtles straight for his head. Ilya pelts the monsters with stones. Enraged, an orc charges and grabs her horn, snarling, "The fun is over." Her horns ripped off, terrified and sobbing. Met screams for Miss Elijah. A woman flashes in, striking the orc in his hand. Met's relatives spot her parents and scream for her to run with Ilya. Met and Ilya flee while her parents hold off the orcs. But looking back, she sees only their severed heads. Ilya begs for forgiveness. But Met blames herself for the tragedy. He assures her she's innocent. The orcs are the only ones to blame. Fidgeting nervously, she confessed she heard the same from the top. The leader confronted the orcs alone, returning with a child's horn, his own now gone. Before dying, the man tasked Elijah to protect everyone. The girl says his grave is in the village center. Stunned, she points and asks what was built. Embarrassed, he admits he built the tower just this morning. Met worries he went too far, but Joshua only built it because Elijah said the gods would be pleased. She gladly agreed, while an unbothered Mrs. Ilya apologized sincerely. He asks what Ilya's up to, and she decides to practice with her new bow. Yulia vows to protect everyone with her bow, her confidence fueled by Joshua's claim that archery is in her blood. Seeing her bow and axe skills, Joe knew she had a weapon mastery sign. He asked for Ilya's birth sign, but she means Hania Amark. No one in their tribe carried. This is new for him. Met says rumors claim this cross-heel. She sees Ilya's kind heart. Selfless to a fault, she's always taking on way too much. Met reveals she distracted the mob to save the demon child while Joe helped. She's earned her respect, no longer just a girl, but the tribe's new princess and leader. She desperately tries to stop the princess from risking her life. He agrees to help. She thanks him, inspired by his support. An idea hits her, and she demands everyone's attention. Met drops a marriage bombshell, leaving Joshua choking on his food in shock. He turned, stunned. The crowd froze, then broke into happy smiles. Joshua wonders if she wants a family, but cuts the thought short. He tells her there, no need to lie. He has staying right here. Behind the boy, Ilya flares Uni's aura, instantly silencing Joe. Ilya didn't hide her disgust, slamming Mehdi for disrespecting Mr. Joshua. Ilya's arrival shocks him, while Metet warns the marriage traps him in the village forever. She didn't want this. She needed their support. Instead, Ilya agrees she'll be his wife then. The girls fought over marrying Joshua, but he calmed them down, saying he's staying in the village anyway, no wedding needed. He promised he's here to stay. The boy felt pure discomfort. They're unstoppable. He turns back. Joe headed to his tent and called it a night. Birds chirp at dawn, forcing his eyes open. Girls flank him again, grabbing his hands tight. Elijah shatters the silence, calling out to Joshua. She asks his plans. His main mission is done, but the village still has plenty of problems. To mass-produce tools, he needs iron, so he recruits the girls for help. He asked where to find reddish-brown or metallic stones nearby. She'd seen these things roll down from the mountains before, but never on the plains or in the forest. She mentions Astor Cave, hidden in the southwest mountain forest. Intrigued, the boy asks if he can reach it. Only bats live here, untouched for a century. Joe says the mice are the real threat, but they can survive if they thin the swarm. Elijah suggests they all head to the cave together. Met protested, insisting she'd handle the task herself. She tells the princess to stay behind, and the guy realizes she's just protecting him. Ilya was set to object. Joshua backs Matt. A leader's struggle panics the whole clan. Ilya reluctantly agrees, earning Mattel's thanks. The boy promises a quick return, but the girl warns them to stay safe. Ahead loomed a cave oozing pure dread. He thinks they've found the legendary Astro Cave. She rushed to explore the cave, but he stopped her. One bat bite could be fatal, so they had to scout first. Torch lit, he tells her to hurl it into the cave on his signal. Knowing bats would have fled by now, the girl tosses her torch inside. A flaming torch streaks into the cave. Joe heard a gurgling sound and signaled to hide in the bushes and scout. The noise grew louder. Met instantly sensed something strange closing in. The sight stunned her. She froze. A slimy, mooing creature burst from the cave. The girl stunned, but the boy identifies it as a mutant. Dust slime. This monster devours everything, melting metal and stone, unlike normal slimes. It's not the strongest, but it has tricks. To swarm it, the boy calls for demon backup, Ilya. She eyes her foe, realizes he's a pushover, and charges in for an easy win. Lady Elijah won't help Joshua, tells her to stop. The weapon won't obey her anyway. Ignoring the warning, she asks, "How's this?" and stabs the slime, but it swallows her weapon whole. He yells to throw the spear, but she refuses to lose his gift. Suddenly, the slime spits it out, slamming her to the ground. The boy summons a magic shield around himself. Shielding the hit, he's already crafting his next masterpiece. A wall shields them instantly. Joshua blocks the bullet and scoops Matt up. He asks if she's okay, but she apologizes, so he quickly reassures her. Joe sneered at the dust slug. He definitely preferred moving target. I thought about ditching her to handle him solo, but then a blonde girl blurs past. Joe gets blindsided. That's Elijah. The girl tracked every move with deadly focus. A slimy mass towered over her. Her eyes flashed with malice as she tensed, ready to pounce on the mutant. She ended him instantly. He never stood a chance. Joshua's stunned. Her speed is unreal, shredding that massive dust slime in seconds. Recalling Joe's simple moves, he wondered how many times she'd swung that object. The exhausted demons reach Ilya. Seeing the villagers with her, the boy shouts her name. The girl apologizes, but the lady just waves it off. She promised she understood her and everything she'd endured. The clan leader lives for one reason: to protect everyone. Maddie grips her dress, summons her courage, and shouts for Mrs. Ilya. She vowed to get strong enough to protect herself and everyone she loves. Joe had high hopes for her. Certain Ilya and Matt's awkward worrying was proof they were in love. They make a perfect couple. She warned them to stay safe and obey Joshua. Ignoring him as a death sentence if he falls, no one's left to save them. Mead apologized for rushing, but the guy just smiled, admitting he miscalculated his strength. Ilya sends her home to rest her injured leg. With the slime dead, she'll safely gather resources with the demons later. No need to worry. The demon backed the leader's choice in total silence. He needs slime, Ilya asks why, and he explains dust slime jelly is strong and shock absorbent, the perfect material for armor. These magic stones, ripped from monster bodies, are massive. Size and color vary by monster, but they're rare. Forge them into gear for a massive power boost. Wind mages prize light green gems, a massive score. Joe cuts the demon short, shouting it's time to move. He warns that twilight slugs cleared the area of animals. Then the girl turns to Joshua with a question. Thick slime coated the cave walls. A slime sat in the corner. They'd lived here for ages, but this one had suddenly turned into a dust slug. Viz lunges in with full force. He leaped high, darting side to side like a beast. He'd been talking to the cave snails all along. He thanked his slimy friend. Joshua says the threat's gone. Time to move. Purple light flickers on the walls like a garden in bloom. This is Aster Cave, named for its shimmering, flower-like surface. The princess blushes and laughs, gripping Joshua's hand as she claims him. Forever, Joshua smiles. They're inseparable now. He digs into the wall, caught by surprise, Ilya calls out. Worried. It wasn't normal iron, it was purple. Nobody got it until he explained this metal is 3 times stronger than normal. This metal tanks magic. Ranked with orichalcum and mithril, it's reserved strictly for royals and nobles. He realized this top-tier metal will forge elite weapons and armor. He's making the picks now, so everyone can extract more. Everyone gathers resources. Some dive into work, others soak in the view. Demon grabs the ore pouch, and the snails spring up, eager to haul the loot. Elijah and Joshua trade a satisfied look. Back home, the company flexed their return, showing off their massive haul. She saw the massive stash, and he grinned. They'd never run out now. He's crafting construction tools like axes and picks, plus kitchenware and cooking pot. He's asked to forge weapons and reluctantly agrees. Suddenly, a memory flashes. Joshua locked on to Princess Ilya. She spots him, and he beckons her over. She asks if he's quit crafting, but he reveals he's actually made something special just for her. The boy hand forged my katana. She grabs the handle, asking what it is. Yesterday, Joshua checked the records before crafting, using demonic weapon intel to pick the perfect gear for the group. He finds a katana sketch. The blade looks awkward, but he knows she'll wield it just like her ancestors. Ilya asks if she's really just a notebook drawing and why she needs a katana. After the dust slime fight, she vowed to protect everyone, so the boy forged this special weapon just for her. She grips the blade, thanking Joshua and vowing to cherish him. Smiling, he tells her to reach out whenever she needs help. Met snaps a fierce look at Joe. She wants one too, so Joshua identifies the katana and promises to forge her one. Met sees an ancient fire ignite in her as Joshua reveals the blade belonged to her ancestors. Mrs. Elijah asks how they can pay him back. He insists he needs nothing. He gets food and a roof, so they don't owe him any thanks. He dreams of a safer, wealthier village. Again, he's the prime suspect. To show real gratitude, I'd have to crush 3 brutal trials first. Safety first. He dreams of iron-beamed homes that no wild boar or slave trader can breach. Hunting and gathering are too unreliable. Joshua knows they need farming for a steady food supply. Third, hygiene, clean gear and bodies heal wounds faster and block disease. Demons love staying clean, but trekking to the river for every wash is a massive hassle. Joshua plans an aqueduct for constant water, requiring a quarry plus new toilets and baths. Joshua protects the demon village at all costs, honored to help. A wolf silhouette flickers in the shadows. A figure blurs down the slope, rolling away with a wild howl. The strange rumble shocks the drained villagers, keeping them on high alert. Joshua asks about the howling. Elijah says it is coming from the north. Sensing danger, he orders Meta to warn everyone and stay on high alert. He tells the girls to round up every archer on the village's north side. Everyone charge the north wall. A demonic voice boomed from the tower, announcing Lord Joshua's arrival from the north as the howling intensifies. The young commander readies his troops. No one attacks without his signal. The goal is clear. It's a massive climb, and a dozen steps are nothing compared to 100. Ilya saw they were closing in at the same speed. Dark shadows loom on the horizon. Panicked, Elijah calls Joshua to report the sighting. A wolf steps from the shadows. He scowled, recognizing the figure instantly. Shifting into werewolves, they sprinted for their lives. Werewolves are human-wolf hybrids that transform for battle. Driven out by human hatred, they live primitive lives deep in the wild. He asks if she saw their wounds. She nods. She saw everything. Her eyes softened. She knew instantly slave traders had struck. A wolf cub bolts. The target's ready to fire, but Ilya orders a stop. She looked up, about to speak. Ilya points to the bear, but he cuts her off with a confident nod. He gets it. No doubt the slavers who attacked her took her captive. The pup introduces himself as Merca. I'll ask for passage and explain they were just passing through. Ilya played nice, letting the werewolves pass while asking why they were running. The kid says they were attacked and she's still in danger. They barely outran disaster. A roar rips through the air, the same beast hunting the werewolves. Ilya instantly ordered Medi to let everyone in. She nodded. The mistress gets the order, open the north gate now. Refugees bolt for the village. Demons seated the guests, tucked them in, and handled every detail. A man barked a command to seize them all. Sell one and get rich for life, the crowd says. But keep them, or you all end up serving the Mongols. Stunned, he froze, completely speechless. No one understood how that fortress ended up there. Joe tried to sneak out, but with werewolf hostages in play, the boss orders a total lockdown. He ordered Met to target only slave traders. Met obeyed. She ordered if you can hit your mark, Don to shoot the werewolves or take risks. Ilya draws her bow and locks in just as the first shots ring out. Arrows rain down. They miss at first, but every volley gets deadlier, catching the squad leader completely off guard. He stops them, swearing they won't attack the fort. They were only hunting half-humans. Joshua roared over the crowd, insisting werewolves are people and demanding their release. The crowd below was stunned, realizing the mestizos had claimed an old fortress as their babe. It wasn't a glitch, but he had no time to figure it out. Ordered to retreat, the commanders used werewolves as meat shields. Met calls them cowards, but Joe stops her from charging in. He was sealing the exits when Elijah leaped from the wall and charged. Landing, the princess lunges with her katana, shielding her people and the refugees. Stunned, the men demanded to know what it was. She gripped the handle and swung at the enemy. One strike, 2 kills. Frozen in horror, he watches the chaos, sweating as he trembles and asks what's happening. Cowering behind the werewolf, he panics, "Who is she?" Eyes burning with fury, Ilya snaps free the werewolf, and you live. He asks if she's sure. She doesn't hesitate. This is exactly what she wants. Princess orders, hands up, but he cuts her off. Stay where you are. He wasted no time, ordering everyone back to the fort. The blade grazes the werewolf's snout, her face frozen in pure terror. He looks up, sees her face, and flinches with a startled hiccup. Ilya's eyes flared with revenge and justice. Time to end this. She instantly hacks off the slaver's hand. Terror strikes, and he drops the kid instantly. Fueled by rage, she plotted to destroy everyone. Joshua's voice stops her cold, begging her to stay back. Gripping the log, he yells that chasing them is too risky. Once the cowards vanish, the princess cools down and calls for Joshua. She watched them flee in total confusion, her obsession with revenge finally stripping away her last bit of sanity. Joe watched the princess from the bastion with pride, glancing between her and the cheering crowd. Met moved the wounded to the fire while Joshua bandaged the critical injuries. She ordered everyone to pile up the gear. The pup thanks the lovers for the help. She finally gives a real intro. She's Merca, daughter of the Martis tribe chief. The girl is thrilled to meet her, so Ilya reveals she's the tribe's chief and princess. The pup was lost in thought. One line out, do not use any line breaks or new lines in your response. She pauses, bows, and insists she's still just a mercenary. Wait. The princess skipped the formalities, just call her Ilya. The chief's daughter processed this and calmly agreed. Asked if they came from the north, Mark paused. They live in a cave at the mountain's base, but humans are swarming the area lately. She explains yesterday's crowd surge triggered the escape. Joe finally realizes the truth is everyone here hunting them. Merc refused, remembering the arsonists among his pursuers. Confused, he asked for clarity. She reveals the truth. Their enemies blast real fire straight from their palms. Seeing mages blast fire from their palms, the boy knew with that power they'd definitely spot the wooden palisade on the stone walls. They planned this from the start. Merc remembers being with Ilya then, and Joshua realizes slave traders are hunting her until someone suddenly interrupts. The girl screams. They set up an ambush. But as Ilya swears she's innocent, Merc cuts in and calls her a liar. She tracked his scent, seeking the same support he once gave her. Merc knows they waited too long, so she's finally calling for backup. Princess says unity brings help in a crisis. Merc thanks her for the hope. Met fumbled his words, desperate to speak. The girl asks what they're after. The chief's daughter begs to stay, promising to meet any demand and have every child fight for them. She hoped this was what Merc meant. But then Joe suddenly shouted her name. He shouted the truth. Slavers hunt demons and werewolves alike. Only by uniting can we escape this chaos. The demon confirmed the hit on Ilya. Now they're allies, and she's spreading the word. Met splits, the guard shifts, and orders food and shelter for the werewolves. Ilya points out Merca is also wounded and needs rest. The she-wolf sincerely thanks her. Demons tended to the refugees, providing fire, blankets, and food. Merc dozes off as Ilya wipes her clean. The lady thinks she's just a tired kid. Joe agrees she's beat, so they let her rest. Joshua tells her to sleep while a beat Elijah recovers. She checks on him, but he won't rest until the trafficker's gear is cleared. The demon says the loot's ready at the gate, and the boy thanks him. At the palisade, he finds a mountain of gear weapons and armor left behind by the others. He spots the symbol, and it clicks. It's Cartesian, the company Joe mentioned. Cortesia deals in drugs and hits, drawing a horde of slave traders to raid the city. These second-level fire mages are trouble far more skilled than the ones the clan face today. He's already planning to reinforce the walls fast. Stop them, or it all happens again. His hand touches something soft. He was obsessed with the idea of forging this forever. Eyes open, everything still soft and fluffy. Joe snaps awake to find a girl dozing on him. I asked who he's clearing out of the way. Waking up, she stretched and yawned, giving him a sweet good morning. He slips back into a weird trance. Joshua doubts his ears, but Merc nods. It's really her. He greets her, shocked she knows his name. She says Princess Ilya told her, stunned. He wonders where this mystery lady came from now. The leader greets the team while a half-asleep Met yawns cutely. They group up and head out to tour the village. Joshua couldn't shake Merc's stories of slave traders and fire mages. Their terrifying power haunted him. He knows a simple fence won't hold them back. Joe searches for fireproof gear and calls out to Merc. He asks if she's seen a nearby spot, a barren, rocky wasteland where nothing grows. She asks if it's a cold, strict place like her mountain cave. Merc mentions another spot across the eastern river. Surprised, the boy weighs the risk. Is it worth the crossing? The Eastern River is too dangerous to wade. Joe hunts for a detour. Met eagerly offered Joshua a piggyback, but he shut her down instantly. Crossing is possible, but the boy warns of lurking monsters and checks for danger, while Ilya asks if they can cross the Eastern River today. The wolf cub eagerly leads him to the spot. Merc warns of giant boars ahead, so Ilya joins the squad to protect them. Met volunteered for the unknown territory. He laughed, relieved to have the extra backup. He remembers Princess Ilya still needs her armor. Thick iron nail posts guard the massive palisade. The girls move effortlessly in Joshua's armor, wearing unstoppable smiles. Joe asks for help, and Merc vows the werewolves will do whatever it takes. He thanks the chief's daughter and asks her to help find the hidden object. He hands her the clay, watching as she carefully sniffs it. Merc takes charge and leads the way forward. She spots more identical items, so he crafts a shovel to check them all. He digs down and hits pay dirt. His buddy confirms the girl was right. Jay never expected finding the clay to be this easy. The cub saw it everywhere and asked why. The creator explained its daily convenience. Send clay to the magic workshop to reshape fire, cool, and moisten it for the perfect material. He crafts a clay mug, carving a sharp pattern on top. Kneeling, the boy shows Merc his clay creation, far more complex than the wooden one. Merc taps it with her paw, confirming it's rock solid. He explains how to turn clay into bricks, leaving Ilya stunned by his skills. She promises to have the villagers start gathering clay immediately. The boy thanked the princess. Joshua pushes to move out and scout the area. A river roared ahead. The kids stared into the rapid. The river's too wide, so he suggests building a bridge. Magic surges through Joe's hands as he forges a bridge out of thin air. A bridge suddenly spans the river, leaving the girls breathless with awe. Ilya realizes Joe's bridge plan keeps them dry and safe from the lethal current, despite his redundant explanation. Remembering the river, the boy asks the pup how it crossed back then. The cat points north to where the river narrows. He crossed there, leaping stone to stone. The girls were all smiles, soaking in the breeze and the rushing river. Merc senses the mountain's breath to the north. He turned and locked his gaze on him. Merc and the werewolves' agony haunted him. He had to help them heal. Seeing their joy, he realized they were targets now. First, secure the village and grab those stones. Past the river, the squad pushed through peaks and valleys until Merc finally called it they'd arrived. Massive boulders litter the wide expanse ahead. Josh noticed the work stones. This was once a stonemason's quarry. He asks if she only tracks wild boars, and she confirms they're her usual target. Everyone avoids this powerful place, leaving the boy in total shock. Joe saw no animals, but Maddie says only small game like rabbits or birds live here. Meeting over, he suggests hunting for stones. Joshua explains his drilling magic, a wind and fire combo that shreds through solid stone. He drilled the stones non-stop, prepping his stock. Ilias felt sick, catching the fear in her eye. The stones shoot upward. I stood frozen as stones swirled inward, merging into a bizarre silhouette. The sight floored Joshua. Stones fuse into a massive giant. The boy freezes in horror, screaming, "It's a golem." Eyes burning with rage, Princess Ilya charges into battle, risking everything to protect her people. He yelled, commanding her to stop. Ignoring his warnings of a massive defense, she charges head-on. One swing cleaves his stone leg clean off. The gallows shadow loomed right over her. Gollum lunges to crush her, but she leaps back, narrowly avoiding death. She watches in shock as the giant's severed leg instantly regenerates. She instantly regretted her reckless move, realizing a bag won to hurt a golem. The guy just nodded, confirming the obvious. The boy spots the red-black stone on Gollum's chest. That's his healing source. Strike it to win. Panic hits. He spots something new. Sensing the threat, he yells for everyone to scatter as the golem starts hurling stones. He challenged the girls, break this stone to unleash your true power. The girls traded confused looks, clueless where this stone storm came from. Weapons out, they brace for the final showdown. Joshua warns Merc to focus on dodging, but the wolf cub smiles dodging is easy. Joe bolted past the stone gully. Princess Ilya warns it's too risky, her voice thick with concern. He smirked, promising everything was fine. This was his specialty. Gollum effortlessly hoists a multi-ton boulder with a crushing grip. Massive blocks hammer Joe relentlessly, giving him zero room to breathe. The creatoress absorption instantly drops the golem. Unfazed, the monster calmly regrows its hands over and over. Absorbing his foe, Joe questioned his own form, even if it was just lifeless stone. Joshua shuts down Gollum's paw again. The magician watched as he filled a phantom palm with stones. Joe absorbs stones way faster than the monster can regenerate. The kid refused to stay down. The boy orders a direct strike to the goblin's heart. Met swings his iron stick, boasting it pierces anything. Hearing that, she charges and crushes the giant's right side. The demon whispers Lady Elijah's name, luring her in. Screaming, the princess dives into the fray. One swift swing drops Gollum. The monster's crimson stone heart split in half. Joe grabbed the gem, never expecting pure delight. Princess asks if Joe's hurt, but he's fine. The stone brings him so much joy, he's literally glowing. She thanked him for the victory, but Joshua corrected her. Forget the monster. It was always about the stone. Ilya doubted golems could produce such beauty. He confirms it. This stone is the golem's core. It's fragile and usually turns to dust the moment the giant falls. Did anyone notice his glow? That man was nothing but his puppet. The stone splits in two, creating both parts at once. Ilya asks if the beast can be remade and if it'll attack. The creator scoffs. It's just a puppet that obeys whoever's name is carved on the stone. Even if it's already owned, the name can be changed. She could barely believe it, but was thrilled they helped. He beamed with gratitude. Their support was a total lifesaver. Joshua crafts a strange relic to revive Gollum. As he speaks, a massive stone giant erupts from the bloody rock. Stunned, the leader admits he can create anything. Even life, he calmly replies. He might not be alive himself, but he's definitely special. Joshua gestures the cube-esque dimensions, and the giant agrees to carve it from stone. The girls and wolf cub are speechless. Their golem enemy just became their savior. The giant effortlessly hoists the massive stone, leaving Matt in pure awe. Meat rushed the boulder, bragging she could lift the whole town, but when a giant easily hoisted the rock, she blushed and admitted she couldn't do it one-handed. He looked back at the giant, realizing they finally had a reliable assistant. The ground quakes, the crowd screams, disaster is here. Pure terror. Everyone stares at the giant, desperate to know what it is and who's attacking. A boulder-toting giant stalks Joshua and Elijah, but they're clueless why everyone's panicking. Rand steps forward to calm the terrified crowd, confidently telling them there's no need to panic. Radiant and smiling, she revealed a golem stood right before them. The girl introduces a massive golem as Joshua's creation, sparking a total uproar. Stunned by its size, the residents praise Joshua's god-tier craftsmanship. Intrigued, she asks why he has so many stones. He wants old stone walls, but realizes he'll need way more materials. He prioritized reinforcing the north gate, calling it their most vital defense. The girls were hyped, but pure shock hit them to the core. Stunned, they demand answers while Joe builds a massive stone wall with master-crafted gates. Elijah's floored by the massive structure, calling it Joshua's masterpiece. Even Joshua is stunned, admitting he's never seen anything like it. He suggested testing the wall's strength, and Maddie was instantly hooked. She readied her mace to strike as the panicked boy begged her to stop. A hit that hard could wreck the building, shocking the girl. To stay safe, Joe has everyone lean on the gate together. Mark's fire warning spooked the creator, so he demanded they reinforce the walls immediately. Time passes, and construction's back in full swing. The giant hauled blocks while Joshua reinforced the walls, teaming up to save the village. He reinforced the inner walls, prying them apart to fortify the structure. Mehdi and the demons watched in delight, then stormed inside to inspect every detail. Ilya shuts down the chaos with a scolding, while Joe struggles to hold back laughs and pure discomfort. He smiled warmly as he watched them. After days of brutal construction work, peace is finally here. Joe's stoked the team crushed it. Keep this energy, and the north wall is finished by tomorrow. He spotted ancient logs perfect for building houses. Grinning, he shouted that it was time to get to work. A woman's voice suddenly pierces the silence. Met lost Merc and can't find her, so he is back to asking questions. Joe realized she was missing that morning. Met confessed she'd been dreaming of doing things with Merc, specifically cooking together. He remembered Maddie used to talk trash about werewolves. Watching their grind, she softens. Met shows he cares in his own way. He heads out solo to find the missing woman, leaving the girl to prep the food. She thanks him. Scanning Merc's villagers, the boy suddenly spots the princess in the crowd. The girl greets Mr. Joshua with a gentle smile. He asks if she's seen Merc today. She pauses, then says, not since this morning. He figured Merc was hunting, but Ilya's focus was already locked on the passing werewolves. She joins the hunt and suggests questioning the shapeshifters, but he knows they are too busy hauling supplies to notice anything. Joe cautiously approaches the wolf, apologizes for the intrusion and asks if it's seen Mirka. He says she took a basket to the southern riverbank for mushrooms, while Princess Ilya wipes the wolf cub's face. The wolf refused Joshua had done enough, and they wouldn't exploit his kindness any further. No need to worry. These mushrooms are just a thank you gift for the demons. Mrs. Elijah snapped, fuming that they weren't obligated to do this. She begged to stay, refusing to let demons kill anyone when she had the power to save them. Bitter and broken, she stares at the gray earth, hunting for answers. The werewolf calls Princess Celia by name. The wolf agrees to pass the message. The girl beams, thanking him and vowing they'll find Mirka in return. Eyes glued, half-humans hand-barreled mushrooms to demons, both sides on edge. The boy fears Mirk drowned in the river, but with the sun setting, the leader demands they move faster. Time is running out. The crew pushes south toward the river. Panic for Mirk filled her eyes. Joe tried to calm her, insisting Mirk's speed made him safe, but she couldn't shake the dread. One question bugged her. Why do werewolves care so much about demons? He confessed he knew Mirka's feelings too. His village was destroyed, leaving him alone and powerless. No one would help him because nobody cares for the useless. Ilya is stunned. She thinks his current power makes it impossible, but he reveals he had zero skills back then. So he started mastering magic and fencing from a young age. Joe knew Mirk felt the same werewolves do anything to earn their kind's trust. Princess Elias warns these werewolves won't be driven off easily. Joshua agreed other demons knew exiling werewolves, for this was total nonsense. He agreed she was right. Werewolves have been working overtime lately. The girl asked Joshua for permission to talk to Mirk. He backs her dream and insists the search starts right now. Deep in the forest, a scream echoes someone shouting for Mirk. By the lake, a noble blonde and a dark-haired teen scour the area for Mirk, until she spots something and alerts Joshua. Mirk perches on a rock in the water, basket at her side. A voice calls out, and the wolf girl looks back. Bridge built, the team heads for Mirka. Joshua asks the girl if the rising water really trapped her. She leaps from the rock onto the bridge, yelling for Joshua and Elijah. A shocked Mirk asks why they here. Ilya is clearly annoyed. Sensing her rising anxiety, Joshua instinctively backs off. Her scream shocks Mirka. Ilya admits he's the one actually mad at her, unlike Cain Joshua, and warns her no more solo missions. Mirk hides behind Joshua, swearing it's safe, just mushrooms, Ilya snaps, telling him to stop stalling and pull his weight as a fellow villager. Mirk peeks from Joshua's shoulders, submissively promising it won't happen again. Ilya sits with Mirk, explaining they only found it thanks to her and the werewolf's help. Mirka radios in her, kind has the nose, but he has the power. Ilya shrugs it off like it's nothing. She vows they'll cover each other as flaws and overcome everything together. Ilya dreams of a happy life, but Joshua knows they're half-human outcasts, rejected by both man and monster. She's right, he agrees. If half-humans and werewolves unite, they'll easily protect themselves. Mirk agrees. Living together is better. He shakes Ilya's hand. The deal is sealed. Joshua calls it a day, remembering Meta's dinner promise. Mirk reveals a basket of mushrooms, but Joshua spots a special one from Meta and is completely stunned. He says the mushroom cures any disease. He praises Mirk, and while she acts humble, her wagging tail betrays her joy. Evening falls on the village. Silence fills the streets, not a soul in sight. Fragrant steam rises from the hot soup, meat and lemon like slices floating in clear broth. Mirk stares at the food, eyes wide in disbelief. Joshua's stunned by the meal, but the girl reveals the secret. It's all thanks to the custom pot he crafted just for her. Mirk checks the pot to find fruit floating with the meat. Met clearly can cook, but the horned girl snaps back, defending her skills. Joshua senses Matai's annoyed. A fresh bowl of fragrant soup sits before the hero. The city is buzzing, and this dish looks way better than Met's usual cooking. Ilya takes a sip and flips. The flavor is incredible. Blushing with excitement, Met admits she gave it her all as Mirk dives straight in for a spoonful. The girl's eyes sparkle in shock as Mirk raves about the food. Met's first time cooking this? She just smiles, knowing it was bound to be a hit. Met adds mushrooms to Mirk's dish and is shocked by how juicy they are. Thrilled, she asks if it's really true. Everyone watches, grinning. Met reveals the girl loved those mushrooms too. She tries to speak, but a sudden noise cuts her off. She looks out the window straight at the neighbor's roof. Joshua appears behind her, watching. On the roof stands a girl with one wing smaller than the other. Mirk thinks the winged girl wants their meat. Met's shocked, but her growling stomach confirms it. Her face is burning red, and she gets even more awkward as Met approaches. Something's lurking in her gaze. The girl stumbles and falls. Joshua screams a warning. Wiz the slime saves the girl just in time. Joshua and Elijah rush to check her as Joshua confirms Wiz is a friend while the creature watches her, worried. They check the fallen girl. Ilya thinks she's just fainted, but Met spots her broken wing. Joshua's paralyzed with terror, while Merc bites his spoon, just as anxious. Everyone's wondering what happened to her. Merc eyes her unconscious face. Stunned. Who is this girl? Is she half human? Everyone crowds the winged girl for a closer look. The girl wakes up clutching her face in agony. Joshua worries she wants to speak and tells Ilya to prep a bed she's on it. The winged girl shivers. Met offers soup, but after a few sips, she faints again. Met panics until Joshua reassures her she's just sleeping. Watching the winged one, Met calms down and spots a girl sleeping soundly right in front of him. Merca suspects she's a real tango. She tells Joshua their home is on a western hill where everyone has wings. He's never heard of it, but figures she's just a local semi-human. Ilya reports the prey is ready, but Joshua heals the captive first. Magic flares in his palm as Merc watches every move. The girl sleeps on the top bunk while the hero tells Viz to keep watch. Worried villagers swarm the gate, but she calms them instantly. She claims everything's under control and sends them back to the party, promising even bigger surprises are coming. Joshua is a limitless talent capable of anything. Merc's mom called dual magic users geniuses, but the boy reveals his healing is just a basic subtype, leaving Merc stunned. Joshua's stunned, she knows magic. She explains her race are spellcasting animals, then stands to flex her wind magic mastery while Ilya watches suspiciously. Merc steps outside and whispers a spell, summoning a small whirlwind from his palms that swirls the dust. She covers her ears, admitting it's just for fun. Joshua sighs, knowing he's no fighter, and asks for her son. Merc claims the title White Wolf, amping up. Joshua realized the spells were elemental. Her mark lets her master 2 types at once. Joshua asks Merc if she knows magic. She only knows basic wind spells from her mom, hoping Joshua will teach her more. He'll teach the basics, and since she has magic, it's a breeze, she's hooked. He tells her to freeze the bucket water with just a thought. Joshua crafts her a wand, telling her to focus her power at the tip and imagine freezing water. She freezes the bucket solid with the spell. Merca lifts it high, beaming as Joshua and Ilya erupt in cheers. Joshua tells her hard work pays off and she thanks him. Inspired, Merc grabs his staff to train, but suddenly he remembers something crucial. He needs Merc's help to build something massive. Surprised, the girl and Ilya wait for answers. Next morning, Winged Girl's still asleep as Merc and Joshua hit the road. Joshua opens the basement, grinning as he reveals a massive pit dug by demons. He heads down past iron walls and purple metal doors. Fire lit, Joshua scans the area, accounting for every size and surprise. She spots the massive hall. Joshua orders Merc to freeze the floor. Is this more training? This boosts training and keeps food frozen. Merc's hyped and takes charge of the organization. He looks to her with hope, unable to act alone. Surprised, she asks if there's anything he can't do, and he admits his only power is creation magic. She senses something is off. Joshua tells her to keep practicing, but Merc feels a weird vibe. Joshua tries to retreat, but she stops him. Tengo's blasting outside, so she'll catch up later. They rush from the basement to Tengu's house, finding a winged girl with Mite and Ilya, while Viz bounces nearby. Ilya warns she'll black out again, but Tengu brushes it off, refusing to be a burden until Joshua steps in with kind words. He mocks her tiny wings, saying she wanted to fly far. She hangs her head, so Joshua introduces himself and asks for her name. They tango in silence. The boy realizes talking to strangers is forbidden here. Shyly introduces herself as a Suha, confirming she's a tango dancer. Merc and Ilya introduce themselves. Ilya reveals she's the village leader, and Joshua repeats it to confirm. He insists she can fly. She glares, but he wants to stop. He vows to build a flying machine, leaving the girls staring in total disbelief. Ilya's stunned. He can craft wings, but Joshua jokes it's too complex. He can only manage a fragile toy. A jeweled scepter appears in the boy's hands, and he's sure it'll end there. Joshua asks Asuha if she can cast magic. She's stunned, but he explains just visualize releasing the wind and shout the command. Asuha agrees while Merc watches closely. She takes his advice and unleashes a storm that stuns the crowd. Joshua guarantees this staff will grant flight. Merc compares it to his own, noticing a color difference. Asuha's stone is green. This magic stone came from a swamp slug. It boosts wind magic, and Ilya remembers exactly how they scored this trophy. Asuka and Merca are baffled. The guy cuts the talk, the stone grants wind power. He suddenly invites Asuka to fly, and she reluctantly agrees. She casts a spell, and a violent gale erupts around the heroes. The stream blasts her skyward as the heroes watch in awe. Cheers erupt. Everyone's stunned. She's actually flying. Ilya stares as Asuka hovers, asking if the stone did it. Joshua confirms it's magic, but her own power fueled the flight. Tsukaga tries returning the staff, but Joshua refuses, calling it a replacement for her lost wings. He keeps the staff and uses Tango's help instead. She accepts. Joshua explains that enemies are hunting half-humans nearby, so he needs her flying scouts for aerial intel. Asuka agrees but insists on talking to the family first. Ilya adds that if it works, they'll be thrilled. She promised the village's help, just say the word. The girl warns Asuka about liars, and Asuka thanks her for the heads up. Asaha vows to repay Ilya's kindness. Ilya just smiles, telling her she's welcome anytime. Asuka soars as the crowd watches Merc. Notes Elijah and Joshua are good guys, but way too trusting. Meter steps closer, eyes the heroes, and smirks. That's their true charm. Ilya's reminded of her request to Joshua. He's confused, but she finally remembers her question. Ilya awkwardly asks him to make Joshua a new flute since her mom's is broken, and he gladly agrees. Joshua studies the specs and crafts the tool instantly, leaving the girls in awe. Ilya thanks the boy, who wishes her luck with the flute. He asks for a song, and she's ready to play. The crowd's cheers push a shy sigh to the strings as Joshua imagines her heart's melody filling the air. Ilya blasts a piercing whistle, catching the heroes off guard. They cover their ears in horror, desperate to stop Ilya. The music fades and the girl smiles, remembering every note. But the heroes stay alert. The village is in chaos after someone mistook a whistle for a war horn. Ilya vows to match Merc's talent, but he's warned to quit the flute for good. Joshua thinks the instrument could weaponize fear, but Met wouldn't wish that fate on her worst enemy. Ilya invites Matai to read, but she shyly declines. Meanwhile, Joshua notices Asuka has vanished. He smiles into the distance, hoping she's safe. She has no clue she's returning tomorrow. Joshua's grinning. This progress is insane. In just 2 days, his golems and slimes finish the entire northwestern wall. A shout spins him around. Merc rushes back, smokes rising from the northern mountain, and Joshua is visibly worried. Merc scales the wall and points to smoke behind the mountain. It's happening there too. Ilya puts a hand on her shoulder, vowing she'll accept everyone. Joshua admits he needs her. Suddenly, something catches his eye. Asuka was one of them. The shielded half-humans are spent. Comrades carry the wounded while the young prop up the elders. Joshua was horrified at the thought of a slave trader attack. Villagers rush to save the winged hybrids while Asuka watches from the walls. Joshua promises safety and asks what happened, but the girl reveals their village is ashes. Mid-story, a winged demi-human spots Joshua and loses it. A real human. He screams they're all doomed. Panicked, he screams for everyone to run as the terrified winged folks scatter. Elijah defends Joshua, but they ignore her human pleas, only caring why people are here and what they're up to. Ilya stares at the terrified half-humans, frozen in confusion, until Asu's scream shatters the silence, ordering everyone to stop. Sobbing, she calls Joshua her savior, claiming they're nothing like the rest. The winged ones freeze as she reveals the heroes let them into the village. A Tengu apologizes, but Ilya waves it off. Everyone's working hard and needs a break. Ilya preps the beds while Merc treats the wounded. The villagers unite to save the Tengu. Mid-rescue, Asucha reveals the truth. A third are safe, a third were captured, and the rest burned, all because of one powerful fire user. Joshua links these fire mages to the werewolf village raid, and Ashwa confirms they're the ones who torched their homes. Thinking he's facing elite wizards, the boy asks about other magic, but Asuk shuts him down. It's fire only. She spots their matching purple cloaks. Fire god descendants. Joshua's impressed. Laska's cousin knew of prodigies like these magic academy elites with divine fire marks and a signature purple glow. He asked for more info. She explains she was heading to the village from the west to check on her relatives out hunting. She spots a cozy inhabited village. Horror struck as she saw her family enslaved, forced to labor for demons and werewolves. Stunned, Joshua and Elijah press her again. After the photo, she asked her father to team up. Now he's weighing the offer. Time ran out. He died that day, swallowed by the enemy's inferno. Joshua spots Western villagers in this deserted wasteland. Something's wrong. Slave traders must be nesting here, hunting for fresh victims. No plan means the village is doomed slavers, and fire mages are returning with backup. Elite troops mean a bloodbath. He needs to fortify his defenses now. He glances at his friends and tells them they need to talk. Joshua gathers the group and drops the news. Asuka's data says visitors are coming soon. The girls trade nervous looks, but the guy says that's exactly what he wanted to talk about. Elja declares it's time for war. No evacuation, no surrender, no retreat, even with the enemy closing. Joshua's got a plan, and the girls are instantly locked in. Counterattack now, no time to waste. The Met leaps up, seizing its plan, time to strike first and make humanity pay. He senses her mood but stays focused. Saving the checkpoint, captives comes first. Thin the ranks before the offensive mercs suggests luring them out, and Joshua locks in the plan, wipe out the guards, then storm the outpost. Joshua tells Viz he and the golem are hitting the caves for coal. The slime jumps, loving the plan. Merc waves to the golem while Ilya asks about the coal. It's trap fuel that ignites instantly. Explanation done, the man turns back to Merc. Joshua needs the werewolf's lightning speed now, and Merc instantly vows to do whatever it takes. Inspired by their grit, he has them bait the slavers toward the north gate while he hangs back. Joshua orders Asasi and Merca's wolves to the village to trap the enemy. Retreat. It's a risky gamble, but their only shot. Merc and Asuka swear they've got this. Suddenly, Joshua remembers. He gives Asuka one last mission, raise the wind on the walls. MET has the details, so go find her now. Asuka nods, fully aware the team and werewolves move out as Joshua hears a voice calling his name. Met asks for an order. He nods, warning he can control the chaos while acting as bait. The girls froze in shock, clearly rattled by his word. Elijah offers to be bait, but Joshua shuts her down. He's handling this alone. He needs to get close to the enemy. Joshua tells Ilya to wait at the gates for his signal. She reluctantly agrees and he flashes a grateful smile. He hands leadership to Mitt, ordering her to monitor and coordinate everything from behind the walls. Nervous, she waves and promises to remember. Joshua leaves Visa behind, warning them to prep for protection. But the girls are totally clueless. Proving his point, the hero magically summons a wooden ballista. She eyes the ballista like a giant catapult, dying to fire its massive bolts. But the boy shuts her down. They scrap the plan, but a sudden noise shatters the silence. A golem and slimes crest the hill. Hauling coal, Wiz's delivery has arrived. Impressed by their skill, he mixes coal and lard. Joshua explains they'll dump the mixture in the tent right on the enemy. He orders Meta to fire warning arrows. The girl hangs on his words as he demands they quit stalling and prep for Merc's arrival. Night falls as lazy clouds drift across the sky. Something caught my eye. Merca and Asahi's squad bursts over the hill. Strangers approach Wooly Merc, warns of 300 people ahead. He asks if the squad is safe and she confirms they're all unharmed. Joshua deploys demons and werewolves to watch the enemy kill anyone who runs and bind those who surrender. Merc asks if Joshua is going solo. He nods, confident he'll be fine. Fear grips Ilya and Miti, but they keep prepping for battle. He confidently claims a real man meets his crew face to face. The army nears the village. One soldier swears he has seen werewolves, just as a massive wall and gate loom ahead. The crowd panics about being lost, while a hooded man in the back screams curses, mocking their failure to follow the path. The freckled man unhoods and clicks his tongue. The soldier calls him Mr. Varnish as he points to the wall. They've found the spot. He warns of werewolves on the wall as Joshua distracts the slave traders, demanding a talk. Varnish asks who Joshua is and why he's there. Joshua introduces himself and immediately flips the question back. Varnish's name rings a bell. He was the creator, as most loyal mage, serving right beside Log. The boy asks if Joshua remembers his sword polisher. Joshua realizes he's Log, the firemaster's relative, but sneers that nobodies aren't worth remembering. Joshua tells Varnish to quit the slave trade and return to school, but Varnish just scoffs. He mocks Joshua's creator seal, calling it a trash mark that can't. Varnish taunts Joshua, asking if he's jealous of the mark now that it's too late. Kneel before Versailles. Academy's top student, he barked. Joshua's sick of Log's labels and snaps. Why is a genius student wasting his life hunting slave? Joshua warns that divine law forbids hunting half-humans, but Varnish shrugs it off, declaring that no rules will ever hold him back. They're just looking for fun, a sick excuse that makes Met and Elijah grimace. Joshua doesn't hold back, calling it straight up disgusting. Fire flares in Varnish's hand. Forget the academy. He doesn't want lessons. He lives for the screams and tears. He smirks, admitting that making these monsters suffer is what gets his heart racing. Varnish mocks Joshua for not getting the joke while his crew snickers, claiming heroes like him should have never been born. Joshua says he'd rather die than be like Varnish, and the words cut deep. Yosip goes all out, teasing his opponent. Vanis rages, vowing to turn the guy to dust. Joshua mocks the puppet, retorting that Vanis will be the one who ends up as ashes. Blinded by rage, Varnish demands silence, forces the boy to beg, and sentences him to slavery. He threatens to incinerate Joshua with the legendary fire the world calls genius. Divine flames erupt from his hands, raising massive fire pillars. Joshua watches in awe. This high-level magic hits deep. One question haunts him: how many half-humans has this flame already destroyed? Furious, Joshua vows to reclaim every last bit, already plotting how to seize the raw materials. Coal and grease hit the fire, sparks fly and the flames erupt. Varnish realizes the truth and desperately screams for Joshua to stop. He screams in pain, ordering his men to kill the fire now. Fire swallows Varnish. Joshua's trapped, the oil soaked his clothes, and the powder won't let go. Engulfed in flames, the mage screams, he's the Academy's hope. And Valbarani air, he can't die here, panicked. He begs for a savior. The powder hits the grunts. They beg Varnish for help, but Asuha's Teng squad strikes from above. Enemies retreat, but Meda's squad intercepts fireballs rain from the walls, exploding right under their feet. Fire swallows the soldiers, and everything nearby ignites. Screams erupt as everything burns. Run for the forest and escape the flames. Wolves lurk at the forest edge. Terrified, they scream and charge the pack, fighting to carve an escape. Ilya and his squad burst from the forest, uniformed soldiers armed with spears, while the girl grips a katana. A soldier spots her, but she's already raised her blade, ready to strike. She shreds the soldiers. Met opens the gates, sending a fresh squad to charge and stop Ilya's breakthrough. They dive in as soldiers, and half-humans clash in a brutal battle. Werewolves, demons, and humans clash as the war explodes. A fighter screams, "The forest is a trap. Head for the river." Survivors bolt for the water, while the demons wonder, is victory already theirs? Medi lunges after him, but Joshua stops her cold. Desperate, he screams for her to stop. They still need that intel. Met promises a quick trim, but Wolf Merc doesn't trust her and insists on doing it himself, leaving her outraged. She bolts after Merca, vowing to catch him. Joshua's stunned by her wolf-like speed, but a voice suddenly snaps him back to reality. Asua smiles, confessing these people torched her village. Joshua recalls Varnish's burned hand, his voice heavy with sadness as he celebrates their victory. Impatient, a demon orders the raid storm the outpost and free the slaves. Crowds roar as Aliyah asks for the plan. Joshua notices the thin numbers. This is a golden opportunity he want to waste. 0 loss is a perfect win, but next time we need to be even more careful during the outpost raid. He realizes he doesn't need to destroy the hostage, just get the captives out. The bound soldiers are gathered in a clearing, their weapons tossed aside in the grass. Eyes sparkling, Mitt cheers that she nailed it. Joshua smiles, pats Merc's head, and thanks them both. A mask flashes into his palm, leaving the crowd breathless. Masking up with a smile, Joshua tells them they need to talk. Masked, Joshua grills the captives to find their fortress is guard count. The soldiers stay silent. Ilya draws her katana, pressing the blade to a captive's throat. She's done wasting time on talk. She gives them 10 seconds. Terrified, they shout, "There are 50 men in the fortress," while Joshua tracks every word. The soldiers roar in agreement. It's the truth. Joshua immediately orders Tengu and the vanguard werewolves to haul the prisoners to the fortress. Freed prisoners lead the orderly procession. Joshua's stunned Tengu, and werewolves are safe, united like one big family. Ilya sneaks up behind him and demands his strategy. He vows to free their families and let no one die, leaving Ilya visibly stunned. Met stays to guard the village with half the demons while the rest of the team locks in. This mission is critical. She's staying to guard the village and wishes everyone luck in the fight. Joshua signals and rallies the others. Joshua leads the group through the dense forest. Merc warns of a human fortress ahead, but Joshua just smiles. Their goal is already in sight. He halts the group and lays out the plan. The fortress was surrounded, but Ilya doubted it was enough. She doubts it's enough. He promises peace, but the mercenary disagrees. She demands they crush the 50 enemies to free the people, but Joshua shuts her down. He reminds her they have hostages. Dawn to rush in, just block the exits and force them to surrender. Elijah trusts her if Joshua decided it's final. Everything's going perfectly. Under the bright moon, Joshua preps torches while Visa rounds up slimes for deployment. Each squad grabs 2 torches to surround the fortress from west to north. Torches lit, he orders the fire spread. Werewolves move east to north. Tangos circle from the sky, and demons march captives from the south straight to the walls. Joshua forges his second mask, demanding a prisoner plus Asuk, Ilya, and Merc. Massive horns sprout, he dons a mask and declares it's time. Inside the fort, one man spots Mr. Varnish returning from the hunt. His partner peers out and freezes. Those aren't to their people. The second boy spots way too many lights in the forest. Elja plays her flute, and the guards cover their ears from the awful noise. They call for Mr. Kobius while Joshua stands back, hands clamped tight. Ilya and the boy celebrate their loud success, but as the melody fades, another character feels a sharp, piercing pain. A bushy mustache man pops out a window, demanding their names and squad. Joshua claims the truth, only half his blood is human. He points to his team and declares he's the Fender Coalition's envoy, stunning the crowd. The man is clueless, but Joshua isn't shocked. He just made the name up. He claims they're local anti-slavery activists, but in reality it's release the captives or he'll level the fortress. The man scoffs, but Joshua snaps back, pointing to the families already destroyed by the slaughter. Raising his hand, he declares, "These lights are the half-humans burning rage." Joshua adds, "Varnish knows this pain firsthand," leaving the man stunned. Joshua breaks the captive, terrified. He screams, "It's all true, Varnish, and the warriors were useless, and the forest is crawling with half-humans." Hundreds of lights flicker around the outpost. The guide panics. The fortress is surrounded. Joshua screams his ultimatum: free the prisoners or burn together. Horror grips Kobius. He threatens to let the golems decide, forcing Kobius to beg for more time. Joshua stalls for time, betting they just want their comrades back and a clean exit. No fighting, no looting. Kobius takes the deal, but will the man keep his word? He firmly refuses to explain, warning he'll suffer first if things go south. As the boy orders Ilya to ready her bow, an arrow whistles past Kobius's face, and he instantly vows to follow orders. He orders the gates open, releasing the half-humans and slave comrades stream out as giants guide them, while Joshua, Ilya, Asuha, and Merca confirm everyone. So, they lead the survivors out, while Merc and Ilya keep a close watch. Ilya reports sadly everyone's free, except for those who will never return. Joshua wants the remains, but dawn's breaking. Ilya agrees it's a win, and back at Kobius, Joshua asks if everyone's free. The man screams everyone's gone. Joshua orders him out before he changes his mind, and Kobius vows they'll never return. Speaking for his friends, the boy declares half-humans are smarter. This time, people believe him, leaving the crowd horrified. The man orders a retreat. Joshua's team sprints for the village. Joshua checks for tails, but Merc's wolf form senses no danger. She immediately asks what he meant by the Fender Coalition. A smiling man warns that demi-humans are everywhere and dangerous. Ilya agrees, noting the name fits perfectly since Fender is a massive multi-race alliance. Seeing the diverse allies bond, the girl sighs, fearing their friendship dies the moment the slavers fall. Joshua is stunned by her words. Asaga and Merc trade looks, promising to stay close, then asks the demons if they can stick around. Joshua smiles, backing the plan. He preaches teamwork and hints at a massive alliance as Elijah looks on with hope. She grabs Asuha's hand, vowing to always support her. Then they both turn to Joshua, who's watching intently. The coalition needs a leader, and suspicion falls on the boy. He freezes under their gaze, stammering that he's just a traveler. Ilya claims the win, boasting his tactics were essential. Asoa agrees Joshua is perfect for the job, and Merc smiles in support. He doubts leading half-humans, but the role offers influence and a place to stay. He'll only advise, letting them decide and stepping down for anyone better. Elijah agrees, crowning Joshua the coalition leader. Joshua is still hesitant as Merc congratulates his promotion. Finally, they reach the village. Families reunite as Maddie rushes to her friends. Joshua cheers. Everyone made it back alive. Smoke rises from the house, catching the boy SI. She smiles, revealing a feast for the hungry crew. The half-human lights up while Joshua cheers. That's awesome. Shocked by the twist, he realizes they're starving Met beams, declaring that's exactly why she's marrying him. He freezes in shock as she beams, claiming they're a perfect match. He asks why she's so sure, and she admits she's dreamed of this since her return. Now, Ilya suddenly confronts her, warning that Met is out to ruin her reputation again. Her mind races like a wild beast while the crowd watches in frozen silence. Ilya realizes Met's a way craftier egoist than she ever imagined. Mette insists Joshua is destined for greatness, and Elijah humbly backs her up. Ilya rushes him, grabs his hands, and declares today the day their loved ones are liberated. Locking eyes, she invokes tradition and demands he marry her right now. Met wants T back down, challenging Ilya to a sword duel. Met accepts instantly, and they both corner the boy, ignoring Joshua's desperate pleas. Joshua tries to mention his promise, but Merc cuts him off, declaring she's his fiancée. The girls freeze in shock while Joshua stands there totally confused. The girls target Merc. Ilya threatens her, but Merc challenges her to a boar hunting contest. Asoa pipes up, timidly suggesting they just eat dinner together instead. Joshua's exhausted Ilya spots her fake act to manipulate him later, but Tengu denies everything. Asha called it all pointless. Joshua's bride was obvious from the start. The girls traded confused looks, failing to grasp her cryptic meaning. She clings to him, swearing it's her. He winces. This has gone way too far. The girls' fight explodes. Two demons invite Joshua to a feast, and he accepts instantly. A new Fender alliance rises, but memories of the girls spark a crushing doubt. What if it all collapses? The freed demi-humans erupt in joy, celebrating their victory together. Elijah fixes his headpiece and notices Joshua's gone. A villager says the kid ate and headed south, out of town. Joshua smirked, heading south of the village. Half-human populations are surging, but with zero housing, thousands are forced to sleep on the streets. The conductor builds an entire street of 200 houses, leaving the locals absolutely stunned. Ilya's satisfied. The South Village is wide open with warm shelter for everyone. He's proud of his work. Houses are appearing right before his eyes. She smiles. Joshua keeps surprising her. He thanks her for the fabric, but she insists she's the grateful one. While Joshua watches the street outside, villagers haul logs together, but he feels guilty for the help. Ilya smiles, assuring him they aren't tired. They were actually inspired to outwork each other. Memories hit him. He was always invisible, never helped or praised. Now, this support makes him feel truly alive. Elijah celebrates their freedom, but warns it's too early to relax, making Joshua laugh in agreement. He eyes the forest and drops a reality check. Hunting won't defeat everyone, so they need to start farming the open land. Elia wants help from freed captives who know the drill. Yehoshua backs him, agreeing their experience is vital now. He needs seeds and livestock, but gathering them alone is a massive challenge. He weighs looting the fortress or hitting the city, but stalls, asking Ilya if she's ever seen sheep instead. Joshua calls them giant fluff balls, and the girl remembers seeing them long ago. She doubts they'll meet, and he agrees the boars are everywhere. He wants a heads up if they show, so Ilya promises to alert Merc and the werewolves. Joshua thanks her, says he's busy, and promises to return for help when the time comes. He refuses because she's exhausted, but she fires back that he hasn't slept. Either surprised, he admits she's right. 2 days later, the south and east are move-in ready. Elijah and Joshua scale the wall, hyped that it finally looks like a real city. Hero tells Ilya constant water is vital for the next step. She asks if he can conjure water from thin air, but he shrugs he can't. He points to a nearby river instead. They'll just dig a channel. Elijah asks if the task is too hard, but Joshua's already got the half-humans finishing it by tomorrow, stunning Elijah with the insane speed. She insists Joshua can do anything, but hearing his name catches him off guard. Boy delivers water. Girl asks for a favor. He agrees instantly, and she thanks him. She points to a hidden hot spring at the mountain's base. Joshua's hyped, asking if it's a real onsen. Elijah finally understood, joy surging through him. Joshua had been there too, and instantly, Elijah's exhaustion vanished. Ilya shyly admits he wants a village onsen. The water is amazing for his skin. She apologizes, but Joshua cuts her off. He wants the water too. River baths are a pain, and hot water would change his life. Heating the supply is useless. Joshua needs the source. He asks the girl for the location, and she agrees to lead the way. She hides her joy and agrees to leave, but worry suddenly clouds her eyes. They head for the source, Elijah nervously checking their tail. Mate, Asuka and Merc flank her with towels, but Ilya glares, demanding to know why they're here. Merc saw Ilya chatting and wanted in, but Mitt warned they weren't safe yet, refusing to let them go unsupervised. Ilya figures Metya has a reason for the towel. She snaps, it's for sweat, not swimming, but Merc points out Ilya's carrying one too. Joshua realizes he was only supposed to look at the source, not dive in, and he's not even there yet. Majestic mountains loom ahead. Elijah announces they've arrived, and Joshua stares in total awe. Water crashes into the lake, mist rising high. He's stunned. This place is pure magic. The water's bubbling. He ditches his glove and dips a hand in to test the heat. Searing pain hits, he jerks his hand back, yelling from the heat. Thinking the onsen is too hot, he asks Ilya if demons haunt the springs. Ilya agrees, urging his friend to try it and offering a massage. Meta interrupts, claiming it's her job. Elijah glares at the girl while Joshua refuses to step in. Merc and Asuka test the water but recoil instantly. It's scorching. Demons handle the heat just fine, but for anyone else, this water is lethal. The water will cool by the time he hits the village, but a sudden noise snaps him out of it. Thunder roars again. Everyone flinches, hunting for the source. He thinks it's an earthquake, but Merc knows it's a massive herd of armored boars thundering right beneath them. Joshua hears a strange noise near the village. Merc confirms it's the southern settlement and says Anson can't help today, but Ilya tells them not to worry. She scorns Meta's hope and pins the blame on Ilya. Met pouts and barks orders, but Joshua calms her, promising their own supplies soon. He tells Asuhata to report the wanderer, and she agrees. Asuka flies toward the village. Joshua scouts a strange noise, and Met's still fuming. They sprint toward the noise. Dust clouds rise over the forest. Joshua knows it's a wild boar stampede. Armed wild boars. They don't usually herd, but the demon lord could force them to swarm. Locals battle the demon king for this land. They rush ahead, but a strange rumble stops them. Whatever's coming is way too slow to be a wild boar. He freezes. Those aren't boars. It's a pack of black, fluffy creatures charging at full speed. Horned sheep like beasts appear, and I instantly realize these are movements. Merc warns Joshua, these aren't normal sheep. They're the Demon King's personal breed. They produce elite milk and wool, but there's a catch, they're smart. The wool's a gold mine, but he can keep the flock. Suddenly, a creature spots him. Blood spills as the monster points at Joshua like a human, throwing him off. Joshua's stunned, the beast talks. He marks it as the herd leader, but an annoyed Muv asks if he's here to ruin their plans. Blood chokes the boy's words into a moan. The creature notes the grass is tasty, but the area's too dangerous. Ilya scans the flock, still on edge. The leader orders the kill, and the entire pack turns on the heroes. The mob screams they're a threat, demanding they be trampled. Ilya draws her katana to shield Joshua, but he orders a retreat. They're outnumbered and need to reach the village. Ilya wants to argue but hesitates. As the group prepares to flee, Merc readies for battle. Asked her plan, the she-wolf's eyes gleam. She isn't backing down. Yosip shouts for Merc as shadows streak past. More werewolves surround him, taking defensive stances and tracking his every word with determined eyes. Barking erupts. The boy panics, charging in as suicide, but Ilya shows him something that kills his fear. Silence falls, and the creatures freeze, baffled why their thundering hooves have suddenly gone quiet. Werewolf growls terrified the crowd, but Joshua saw only wolves and sheep, a dynamic he was ready to exploit. Merc's squad encircles the monsters. Trapped and terrified, the beasts flail wildly with no escape. Wolves herd the crowd together, trapping them as paralyzing terror freezes their blood. Panicked and shaking, they whisper, "What now?" Joshua locks in, a wooden fence erupts, trapping the enemies and sealing their escape. The monsters collapse under the tree, and pressure as horned and winged warriors swarm. The field village. Reinforcements are here to save the heroes. Despair hits, and there's no escape, but the leader rallies the pack. It's not over yet. A victory cry is cut short by cold steel as Ilya grips her sword, her gaze a lethal threat. Time freezes, fear takes hold, and confidence vanishes instantly. Ilya's gaze pierces the beast, and its fear explodes. It retreats, unable to handle her insane pressure. Relatives tell a desperate Moa Saray she's lost. Ilya asks for the next move, but Joshua says the fight is over. The creatures swarm their fallen ally. The fight's over. Joshua knows it's time to talk. They and the girls closed in on their defeated, broken enemy. The beast eyes them warily, flinching as they approach until Joshua steps in to promise they mean no harm. Move apologizes. Terrified by constant attacks, Joshua asks if he's related to the Demon King, and Move confirms the truth. Tormented in cramped stalls, the creature finally broke free. Fed dirt and rotten meat, they were treated worse than cattle. Joshua sympathizes, but once free, their misery manifested as people and monsters. They graze as the boy mourns their trials. He warns of human towns ahead, and the creature knows another attack is coming. Hoarse moans follow every move as Elijah turns to Joshua. She wants them in. Joshua asks if she's sure, and Ilya backs the leader's choice, but the guy feels awkward, doubting he's fit for the role. Joshua reports they're accepted while Mate, Merc, and Ashuka watch the drama unfold. Joshua returns to a wary Saraza, asking how she survives. She counters, questioning if they even have the right to occupy her land. Joshua asks for nothing but suggests a trade milk and wool for food and shelter. The land is yours, do as you please. Maeve's stunned by the free housing and epic offer, promising they'll be happy. The man just needed wool, making it a perfect match. But Maeve still hopes for kindness. Intro over, Joshua shakes the creature's hoof and they head back to the village. The boy details the path to the river, promising Cereza it's right next to the settlement. Saris's pack would love Evans. It's massive enough to fit them all. Granting the language's wish, he vows to build a massive barn, instantly summoning the structure and leaving them stunned by his power. A house suddenly rises, shocking everyone. They claim this guy is stronger than the demon lord and will surpass their shepherd, but Joshua brushes it off and heads for the stable. Mubov thanks Joshua, offering milk and wool anytime Joshua hesitates. But Mubov laughs. His old coat was getting way too hot anyway. Merc and Asahad can stop petting Language's soft fur. Joshua smiles, glad they're happy. Heading to the barn, he asks if they'll live there, already dreaming of a cozy bed and warm blankets. The mobs enter and collapse instantly. Saraza scolds them but figures they were just exhausted, while Joshua assures her it is fine. Joshua eyes their fur for a bed, but Saresa offers herself as a pillow instead. He stares back, stunned and totally confused. Sarah says these are demon beds. Joshua's skeptical, but Move confirms a guy offers to help tonight. Under the full moon, Joshua drifts off on Soraya's soft fur, but as he strokes her, he finds something unexpected. Saraza's scream shatters the silence. Josh bolts up, eyes wide, demanding to know what happened. He realizes he just grabbed the creature's milk glands. Sarisa calls out the inappropriate grab, but Joshua panics, claiming he didn't even realize where his hand landed. Sardasa allows the milk but sets strict limits, reminding him their promise is final. Joshua frowns, totally lost. Sarasa erupts in a blinding light, forcing him to shield his eyes. When the glow fades, he's stunned by what he sees. Joshua meets Sarasa, a ram-horned girl, eyes sparkling. She reveals they carry the demon lord's blood and were trained from birth to take human form. Joshua's shocked. This is just like Merc. The girl claims her human form makes drinking milk way easier. Ilya looms over Cereza, throwing her own words about decency back at her. Cereza nods, totally clueless about her mistake. Ilya bows, promising no punishment. She grabs Beast Cereza by the scruff and turns to Joshua. Ilya drags her out, promising Joshua he'll explain the new rules of decency later. Joshua asks him to be gentle, and Ilya agrees. Met appears, hoping Saraza survives. Joshua's confused, then finds Merc and Asuha crashed in his tent, but he isn't worried. 3 days later, new tools upgraded their farming and fishing. Sheep shearing began, and warm beds and blankets filled the village. Met reports, cozy homes, and full supplies. Merc credits Joshua for everything. Dug channels already pipe water straight to every home. Merc, Metet, and Joshua stare in awe at their handiwork. Merc wants to swim, but Joshua says, wait for the onsen. This water is for drinking. Met's hyped for the easy access, and now they can finally irrigate the fields. Joshua heads to the abandoned slaver fortress, hunting for leftover loot. The settlement is safe, so Met joins Joshua to see the fortress. Joshua agrees with Ilya busy. Met steps up as his guard. Terrified Elijah might hear, she freezes. The silence is heavy until Merc arrives, announcing he's joining the group, much to Joshua's delight. Asuka and Ilya finish teaching hunting, letting the trio head out. Merc scouts ahead while Joshua promises they'll catch up fast. Travelers wave to Muvs grazing freely along the green fields. Joshua and Asuka push through the forest until Merc sprints back from scouting, gasping that something's gone wrong nearby. Everyone in the fortress is dead, and someone clearly murdered them. Merc returns with grim news the settlement is wiped out, and it was a massacre. Joshua freezes in shock. She asks if this involves the people she just negotiated with. She drops Namasa's name and the girl nods. Merc reports everyone's dead. Panicked, the boy suspects. Koba stiffed them after the hostage release, but this is way deeper than a simple betrayal. Smoke blankets the horizon, and Joshua insists they scout the area to see what's going down. The squad arrives to a total nightmare. The settlement is a wasteland of rubble, ash, and corpses. Met hides her face in shock while the boy screams in horror. Scanning the scene, she sees the killer as pure hatred. Joshua silently nods. He knows half-humans crave revenge, suggesting they spotted a weakness and stormed the fortress. Joshua scans the ruins, homes, and crops are totally wiped out. He checks the harvest for more, but Merc interrupts someone's coming. Merc sounds panicked and vague, so the boy demands answers. Armed half-humans surround the squad, cat ears, tails, and weird weapons. Joshua knows exactly who he's up against. He shouts to the Kodalak squad, Glank's mercenaries are right in front of us. Met stumbles through a word syllable by syllable. While Merc notes the term mercenaries, Joshua explains the Kodalaks are half-humans from the Glank Desert. Foreigners raised the Kutalaki homeland, forcing them to serve the demon lord for power. Once strong enough, they went rogue and settled in the south. Shocked by the Kutalaks as the boy is caught off guard, the aggressive half-humans mistake them for settlement survivors and demand they disarm, promising a quick death if they surrender. Joshua insists he's an ally who fought for the locals, but the girl isn't buying it. She screams, he's a liar, accusing him of kidnapping half-humans while hiding like a coward as others die. Met calls it a misunderstanding, drawing his katana to shield Joshua. He swears this human is different, just as Kodalak spots the horn on her forehead. The mercenary realizes the demon is just a puppet forced to serve. She pities the girl, but her hand stays locked on her sword, striking Mete to the core. Tensions explode as the girls clash. The mercenary mocks her rival's skill against the odds, but Met snaps back. She relies on no one. She screams for Merc to protect Joshua, but Merc's already on it. A werewolf watches the clash, sensing both sides are dead even. Other Mercs are already racing to the meeting spot. Joshua scrambles for a solution. He knows the race is in trouble and wants no enemies in Glank. Fighting is pointless, so he calls Meta. He tells her to back off. She obeys as he triggers a creation spell. A figure intercepts the hired hand, stopping her strike. Her sword slams into the stone, 0 damage. Joshua thought he blocked the hit, but the mercenary vaulted the wall in a flash, determined to end the fight. A voice stops Naya just in time. She obeys but defends her actions. The company is clearly shady. Her father, Kotalak, only half a gristle. Scanning the crowd, he spots a human, a shifter, and a demon together. The mercenary notes he's rarely seen such a colorful crew. A whistling arrow cuts him off. The group scans the area until the shooter emerges, demanding to know who these half-humans are. Joshua's shocked it's Elijah, bow drawn and ready. Ilya grabs the katana and charges. The stunned enemies raise their weapons, barking for her to stop. She refuses to submit, fearlessly clashing with the entire group at once. Nia's father stays back, unbothered, while a furious Ilya charges him head-on. The Merc smirks, effortlessly parrying her blows while Elijah screams for him to back off Joshua. The boy can barely track their insane speed, but Joshua sees the truth Kotalak is holding back, hiding a secret weapon he's in no rush to draw. The boy begs the princess to stop, insisting the mercenary doesn't want to fight. Nia's father warns Elias his sword will shatter under his own superhuman power. Nia insists he's fine, but Kotalak tells him it's not necessary. Ilya's stubbornness is their only hope. Nia won't dare argue with her father, and Joshua's relieved the mercenary finally tamed her. He's never seen daggers move this fast with 2 blades. Even Ilya would be finished. Nay stays silent while her father smirks, looking down on her with condescending pride. Cadillac apologizes for his daughter and introduces himself as Belon, a soldier from Glank, the same name the boy uses. Balin wonders if the rumored Joshua is from the Fender Coalition. His hunch was right. Now he's curious about the mercenaries' targets, and Balin coldly admits they're behind every atrocity. He explains Capotin's fortresses owe a massive debt, and it's time to pay up. Joshua reveals why they fled and his plan to scout the fortress while Ilya and Mate eye the mercenaries. Balin smirks. The evidence is wiped. With no witnesses left, the Kodaloks are keeping all the loot. The boy claims they're only checking the harvest, so Kotlak suggests a search. Mission's cleared. The mercenaries are heading back south. Naya bursts back, gasping for air. Balin demands news, but the fortress is empty. A shocked merc asks who they're even looking for. Kodalax is nearby. A man asks if anyone's seen him. Merce claims she found nothing but will report any leads. Balin thanks her, while an annoyed Naya bites her lip, hating their polite ass. Silence hangs heavy, as Joshua panics. Was their friend taken by the enemy? He needs to find them fast. But a sudden voice snaps him back, demanding to know why he's there. The boy turns to see the Kodalak carts flipped and cargo scattered. Balin smirks at the mess they're officially stuck. Mercenaries swarm the carts, checking the loot. The damage is brutal. Shattered boards, snapped axles, and pulverized wheels. Nye's livid, demanding to know how the carts broke. But her dad calms her, saying anything can happen. Everything they find stays here. They can take a thing back. Joshua offers magic to help, but Balin realizes 5 broken carts means a long day ahead. He surveys the damage. The wheels are definitely fixable. He claims he can fix this in minutes. She snaps, calling it total nonsense. Even a pro mage would need a full day to fix this carriage. Joshua jokes the veteran mage was up to something else entirely. Silence, Naya fumes while Balin rubs his chin, thinking, Joshua's call repairs start, and Kotalak guarantees a massive reward. Intrigued, the boy dives in. Why fix old wheels when building new is easier? The carriage vanishes instantly. A panicked Naya demands answers, but Joshua explains that creation magic requires storing materials first. Shut up and watch, she orders. The girl grumbles, seeing the move but baffled how the whole board shifted at once, while Balin just smirked. He's never seen a full cart stored here. Joshua overhears and realizes his power dwarfs every other southern wizard. The restoration spell snaps the cart back to its original spot, looking brand new. Kotalak watches in awe, stunned it only took minutes. Balin recruits the boy for his magic, but Ilya snaps, calling the move completely unfair. Alongside Met and Merc, she shields Joshua from a forced choice, but he confidently stands his ground and refuses. The master offers to handle any future mercenary trouble for a steep price. Balin nods, keeping the offer in mind. Time to pay up. Joshua instantly asks for plant seeds. Any amount will do. Kodalak orders the seeds. Nia's stunned. She can't believe her father's giving them away so easily. Her eyes widen in panic. Balin shrugs. Accepting a peaceful life is impossible. But his daughter refuses to quit and will do anything to save him. It's Glenka's final legacy. She mentions Lisa and her mother's dying wish now. Everything depends on it. Kodalak knows letting seeds rot is a waste. Sharing them keeps the hope of a future harvest alive. Link wheat seeds, ordering him to grow them. Let his tribe Balin hands. Joshua glink wheat seeds and tells him to grow them one more. Clutching the bag, the boy asks for tips. Kotalak says it's easy. Just add water for tall, strong stalks in a massive, non-stop harvest. The mercenary bids farewell, inviting Josh to visit if he ever returns, while Naya waits nearby. Balong suddenly calls for caution. The boy asks if the warning is for other criminals, but the merc shrugs. It's just friendly advice. Joshua thanks him as Kotalak nods, smiles, and heads out. Back at the village, the mission's a success and the wheat's secured, but a dark premonition haunts the boy. Marcus doubts the haul, but Joshua is sure it's useful. Their fortress raid turned up a massive mountain of vegetables. The werewolf tracked the scent, but the loot was gone, leaving only 200 demonic turnip. The boy promises more seeds, claiming demonic turnips are easy to grow. Merc's curious, so the merchants explain they're just magic-soaked turnips, safe to eat and high yield. She's unimpressed and confused, so Joshua breaks it down. Demonic turnips are just normal ones that grow way faster. Water them, and they're ready in a month. The demon turnip is bitter but edible, and it's time to sow the belong wheat. Merc is outraged, repeatedly asking if his crop really tastes that bad. Joshua, Elijah, and Matt hit the field. The area is prepped, but they've got to clear the grass before plowing. Joshua remembers sheltering monsters and sparks a plan. He calls Saraz, who answers instantly, overjoyed. Intrigued, the boy asks if this language lets him control the grass, and he's told it's easy. Joshua tells the farmers to plow once the grass is gone, then sow millet and turnips. He grabs a handful of seeds, and he and Met examine them, hyped for the unknown. The seeds look suspicious. The girl doubts these dark seeds will sprout, but Joshua just shrugs. He's just as clueless. The grain looks nothing like millet, but Balan swears it's safe. Time to trust him and take the plunge. Task finished, Ilya leads a squad of half-people farmers into the yard. They line up ready for work as the boy nods in thanks. The grass vanishes as the demons start tilling. They look goofy but work with pure hype while Joshua watches closely. Asuka, Merc, Mtet, and Ilya reach the landing after a brutal trial. Mtet wipes his brow and grins as the princess prays for the seed to grow strong. Balon warns Kiri to protect their native wheat. Soon the fields will turn to golden millet, and Joshua will show their success to the Kautalaks. Sowing's finished, everything's ready. Days later, Merc approaches Joshua with a request. The boy spots Suk, stunned. The girls demand new clothes. Joshua asks for specifics. Merc confirms as mages, ordinary clothes one to work for him or a Suha. The girls grin and agree they need matching witch gear and fast. He gets the hint and vows to craft something from Mo's wool. Merc nods gratefully. Joshua wonders what other miracles magic and duets can create. He makes his move, working his magic to instantly transform the girls into their new glowing costumes. They playfully show off their new looks, and he loves it, noting that studying just got way easier. Merc cheers that Joshua is their mentor, expecting endless wisdom, but the guide stays cold and silent. He repeats he only masters creation. Other magic is a struggle, and he's already taught the girls everything he knows. Joshua says training requires school or a grimoire. Merc refuses to leave his village and demands a book, but Joshua has no clue how to make one. You can see it all, heading to the city. He vows to buy a book, picturing inhuman streets filled with creepy wires for sale. Merz's ears droop. She says she needs nothing, whispering that she doesn't want Joshua to leave. He tries to speak, but she stays silent in her grief. Suddenly, a voice cuts the tension. What's the big news? Maddie hauls a massive boar back from the hunt. Seeing the girls dressed up, she grins and dumps her kill. Merc brags about Yoshua's matching outfits for him and Ashuka, instantly making Matai want a new fit. The werewolf mocks her outfit, barking that a demoness has no place among tinge wizards. Rage explodes in her mind. She brags her beauty makes anything look good. Seeing her joy, he vows to sew her new clothes, and she excitedly asks if he is serious. Suddenly, his joy vanishes. He freezes, lost in thought. Tension hangs between Merc and Asuka. Joshua knows she needs clothes, but he's clueless about what she actually wants. With a home at last, Met asks Joshua to sew her clothes he thinks suit her best. Stunned, he asks if the choice is really his. She beams, confirming it. Joshua's stumped on where to start. May's gear looks perfect, but then a sudden idea strikes the demon. She dreams of a wedding dress to look special, but the werewolf and Tengu just glare in disapproval. He confirms they wear them, and he's down too. Merc and Ashoaga suddenly demand wedding dresses, leaving Joshua absolutely stunned. The girls erupt into a shouting match as Mi claims she's the bride and won't surrender her dress. The others refuse to budge, so the boy just gives in. Meanwhile, Elijah. The boy explains the girls' clothing spat, making Elijah snap. She warns they re-driving Joshua away, but he swears he could never hate them. The princess takes his hand and confesses he's her everything. She smiles gently, her cheeks flushing. Joshua awkwardly admits his love, but under their gaze, he panics and claims he loves everyone too. Mate fumes that Ilya outpaced them again, but the princess plays dumb. She shuts down their insults, claiming he is bored of their games, and Ashoka is terrified. Elijah's certain if the other girls aren't as smart or mature as her, Joshua will never notice them. They clash over who's the real adult. But before Joshua can blink, he's leading a squad of half-humans. 2 demons recently visited him, asking to host their wedding. Joshua's more than just a magic tool. Now he's a trusted personal advisor, and he loves being this useful. Anxiety burns in Joshua. Can he really protect everyone in this role? He's bonded with the residents and will do anything to keep the settlement safe. Joshua relives his comrade's betrayal. With 0 combat skills, he can't survive the road alone. He doubts he's worthy of leading the coalition. A sudden call snaps him back to reality. Ilya asks if Joshua's sick, but he's fine. Merc teases her for scaring the kid with her stern look, leaving the princess completely flustered. Terrified, she looks to Joshua for answers. He just smiles, claiming he was only lost in thought. The girls win the argument, scoring a promise for any custom outfit they want. Elijah smiles and thanks Joshua, telling him to reach out if he ever needs backup. Overwhelmed with joy, Met accidentally calls him her husband, quickly corrects to friend, and vows they'll do anything for Joshua. Merch promises backup so he doesn't have to worry alone, while Asuka vows to face every challenge together. Joshua smiles, thanking everyone sincerely. A sharp noise shatters the silence. Everyone freezes, hunting for the sword. Saris rushes over in despair. The boy asks what happened, and she panics. A mob just ambushed their peaceful herds in the south. News of the orc pursuit terrified everyone. Sarasa doesn't hesitate. These goblins serve the demon lord. Her words hit Joshua like ice, chilling him to the bone. He bolts for the village exit, ignoring Ilya's desperate shouts to stop him. He rushes ahead, recalling Lord Demon's army. Sarasa warned him Southerners are being ruthlessly herded. Joshua can't ignore the chaos anymore. His eyes locked on the smoke rising in the distance. The girls finally catch up. He warns them to stay put. Siding with anyone makes a deadly enemy and drags them straight into the war. Joshua orders the demon to shut the gates while Elijah screams, desperate to stop him. She warns him it's suicide to go alone, but he fires back. If half-humans join humanity, the demon lord will hunt them to the grave anyway. Joshua's mind spirals through nightmare scenarios, each worse than the last, picturing the conflict's brutal fallout for everyone. He orders his friends to stay put. Ignoring their pleas, he charges ahead without looking back. Fugitives race into the thickets with orcs hot on their trail, but Joshua appears, ordering them north while he stays behind to buy them time. The driver blurts a quick thanks. He magically slams up a fence just as his pursuers close the gap. Screaming orcs charge ahead as their leader pushes them to the limit. Suddenly, an obstacle blocks their path, plunging the entire army into chaos. The lone figure is a joke to them. They hurl insults, screaming that mountains have crushed better men. Their manic laughter leaves Joshua shaken. Forced to hold on, he roars a challenge to the orcs, try it, and he's taking them all with him. He's promised a cold death monster swarm, but Joshua waits for them to close in. The plan drop a structure to block the enemies. If it fails, he dies alone, but Ilya forces the move early. She vows his enemies are hers. No matter their power, she's ready to fight. Ilya draws her gleaming katana, telling Joshua to stop hiding his pain. They'll carry the burden together. He saved them once, now it's his turn to be saved. Elijah declares Joshua's enemies are now her enemies too. She draws her blade, vowing to repay the boy and save him, just like he saved them. Distracted by her own words, the princess drops her guard as an orc strikes from behind. Joshua screams a warning. Ilya spins and slams the attacker down, warning the orcs to surrender now or be hunted. The plan fails. Overconfident and unimpressed, the monsters charge in to wipe out humanity, its defenders, in a single blow. War is coming, and the boy knows it. Ilya's missing horn tricks the orcs, sparing the half-people from the demon lord's war, while Yosip crafts magic. He warns Ilya to stay safe and baits the enemies, while she smiles and dives into the fray. Watching her, Joshua's certain she understands nothing. Outmatched but unyielding, Ilya rains arrows into the orc horde. They're badly wounded, but she asks if they'll keep fighting. Surrender is a disgrace. Refusing to lose to her, the orcs rally and charge back in. A sharp crack rings out. Crossbows draw from all sides. Arrows rain down on York. Joshua whips around, stunned. He spots demi-humans lining the walls. They refuse to retreat, staying to fight beside their comrades. Ilya apologizes for his rash behavior. Joshua's got it handled. No survivors means zero witnesses. This stays a secret. The boy nods. Satisfied, Ilya returns a sincere smile. Joshua knows the missing orcs will raise alarms, and the next search party will blow their cover. The plan: burn the bodies to leave no trace. Defense is the priority. Time to head back. Back at the settlement, Joshua and Elijah find exhausted refugees huddled by the fires. The medic reports a flood of wounded, and treatment starts immediately. He thinks she'll talk to the others. The princess promises help is just a request away. Refugees recoil from the half-humans in terror. Joshua steps up, and the driver recognizes him instantly. Shocked, he asks if Joshua's really siding with half-humans and proposes an alliance. He reassures them these semi-humans just want safety. Stay peaceful, and they'll treat you like family. The driver reluctantly agrees. Joshua asks where they are from. Saburna. They tried fighting a 50,000-man army, but were crushed. Joshua remembers Saburn, the southern border fortress. The demon lord's army could never breach. He wonders, have all the other southern cities already fallen? Confirmed no survivors. He asks if they're invading, but the enemy is pushing north earlier. It was just one squad of the fallen heading that way. The driver reveals Bish leads the army. Joshua asks if it's the Lord of Demons. The man confirms he's the most brutal orc alive. Battle-hardened Bish obsesses over demon horn weapons, but that's just the start. This monster wiped out Joshua's hometown. Joshua thanks them for the intel, guarantees the northern river path is safe, and invites everyone to eat before he leaves. The stranger promised full supplies for the trip. Stunned, the man thanked him, then realized he didn't even know his benefactor's name. Joshua introduces himself to Barak, Lord Saburna, thanking him once more with a firm handshake. Humans and half-people dig in. Merc watches closely, curious. She claims she hasn't seen anyone but Joshua in years, so she's just observing. He accepts it, but suspicion remains. The werewolf freezes, staring into the dark, embracing for the unknown. Everyone's relaxed at dinner, but Barak is on edge, shoulders tensed as he stares at his plate. He makes his choice, stands up and pushes past everyone toward the cart. A shocked Joshua asks what is going on. Barak reveals a forbidden chest, warning of divine wrath. A companion fears they'll be defenseless, but Barak shouts he'll face the army alone and summons Joshua. The box pops open and the man offers to take it all, but Joshua freezes. A tiny figure is staring right at them. He thinks it's human, but it's a Kodalaku child. Barak reveals they're selling the baby to fix the military budget. Lord confesses he nearly committed a sin that neither God nor he could ever forgive. Joshua's loving every second. The man recognizes the baby and wants to ditch it. Merc inspects the kid while Barak defends half-humans, finally forcing the man to help. Joshua summons swords with a wave, arming the Lord for battle. A stunned Barak apologizes for the sacrifice, while the Lord demands to know how this magic is possible. He grins, calling it the magic of creation. Smoke rises over the rooftops. Inside, friends gather in silence around an empty table. Joshua takes the floor, apologizes for the rush, and pivots to the main threat, the Demon Lord's army. Meta's certain the fate is sealed. The half-humans will fight no matter what. He knows, but wants to avoid a fight. The crowd holds their breath, watching his every move. Joshua pushes for peace, and Ilya agrees if there's any chance to stop the bloodshed, they have to take it. Met reluctantly agrees, warning that demons have pulled this before. Joshua nods. They must stay ready for anything. Their defenses are solid, but he'd rather meet the enemy outside the settlement. Ilya thinks the walls are safe, but the boy warns a long siege means starvation, poisoned water, and mass disease. Death is certain. It's a war of attrition. Food is scarce, and escaping these walls is impossible. Joshua decides to strike first away from the village to keep the civilians safe. If they fail, the squad is doomed, but the village stays protected. Met agrees, noting crossbows are deadlier up. Merc notes wild werewolves are way more agile and intense. Joshua expects an orc army pure power, but zero speed or magic. Ilya confirms orcs share demon traits, but the boy warns that demons are even stronger. Joshua explains orcs use basic scrap, but the Fender Coalition wears rare purple metal. Demons lack numbers and experience, but orcs are pure grit, risking death just to push forward. Impressive. Squad leader Bish knows every move is risky, so he needs his team's input. The crowd went dead silent as the news hit home. Matt knows striking first beats waiting, so she's all in on Joshua's plan. Merc and Asika stay silent, but Saraza objects. Done with running, she wants to hide behind the walls and wait. Merc asks if she's ready to be the orcs' bet again. Knowing they can't run, Sarisa agrees. It's time for a surprise attack. Joshua gives everyone a heartfelt thanks. Training starts now. Ilya and Mete hit the physical drills. The mercenary pushes her to master healing, while the shapeshifter promises she'll excel. Asuka Joshua insists she keep her wind powers for the future, and the Tengu agrees. He refuses to back down and steps up to the challenge. Joshua signals it's time, the group heads out. It's finally showtime. Inside the Met, Skyden's dome, demons run crossbow drills. She demands perfection. forcing repeats until every move is flawless. To Joshua, she's being way too intense. 3 months since the rescue, Fender's Coalition is rapidly building its army. Warriors master bows, crossbows, swords, and shields, sharpening their combat skills to perfection. This settlement now boasts the continent's strongest defense. Goal asks the Kotalaka boy if their gear looks cool, then ruffles the girl's hair, bragging that her Joshua made it. The kids call her to play, but she stops, hesitant. Desire wins, and she jumps into the game. Met's glad the silent captive is finally trusting them, and the boy admits her early tears were the hardest part. Stunned by Josh's round well moat, the girl pivots. Their walls are now iron-reinforced and unstoppable, leaving Josh with a satisfied smirk. Fear is dead. This fortress is so strong that even the Demon Lord's army is no threat. These walls will never fall. Joshua bets on peace to gain leverage, but he's ready for war. Meanwhile, training intensifies as the girl takes command. Hiding is a death sentence. He's taking the fight outside. The flying mice are gone, and the clear waters are finally safe. Joshua gives the signal, and Meta is hyped to dive in. She cheers their village finally has a real onsen. Buffing stats took forever, but it's finally onsen time. The curious demons start stripping, but Met stops them. There are separate changing rooms. Questions cleared. It's swim time. Met's dying to dive. And Ilya invites Joshua along, but he's just not feeling the hype. The princess grins, revealing a private spot just for him. A stunned Joshua panics, demanding an explanation. He needs his space, and she hasn't forgotten a thing. Smiling, she reveals Joshua's private pool is hidden from prying eyes and points him toward the entrance. He remembers building this for Sui, but his friend reveals she forced Tengu to lie. Sui quietly apologizes. Tengu knew Joshua only agreed because she was sure Joshua liked the deal, but felt the place was too big for when Ilya didn't hesitate, instantly announcing she'd move in to fill the space. Smiling, the princess admits she dreams of rubbing Joshua's back. Mate snaps at Ilya's tricks as the girls erupt. Ashuga offers help, but the boy awkwardly refuses. Watching the chaos, Joshua finally makes his move. A vision of future defeat flashes before him, his friends dying one by one. The boy apologizes to Ilya for his urgent business. Confused, the girl asks if he's serious and quickly says sorry for their behavior. Joshua tells the girls to rest, hiding another grim vision. His only command: prepare for war. Alone at last, he starts his real prep, spamming his creation spell to forge an endless arsenal of new weapons. Since arriving, Joshua feels a strange change. Inside his shelter, walls are opaque, blocking any view in or out. It fits everything from massive objects to whole buildings. He'll even pull out fortress walls if he has to. Storage hides weapons and stockpiles arrows for a surprise attack. Joshua's mind is on overdrive, constantly chaining complex tactics and strategies together as he hunts for every possible move. He realizes perfect planning won't kill the anxiety. Peace still isn't coming. Joshua wonders, can they win? The fortress is maxed out, but war always ends in blood. Demon Army Commander Bish wields a legendary demonic horn. He's a nightmare to take down, no matter the plan. Joshua's driven to create, grinding non-stop until he hits his ideal. Twilight falls, but the boy hasn't budged, locked in his work. Tension fills the air as Fitzalicia approaches. Elijah calls it a day, but Joshua weakly protests he's not finished. Once again, the girl calls his name. Hand on heart, Ilya begs her to speak, swearing he'll listen to every last word. He's always helping everyone, so now his friends are returning the favor. Even a shy Joshua wants to chip in. He admits it, this is his greatest fear. Elijah asks again. Stunned, Joshua admits his biggest fear is losing everyone he loves. Before this, life was simple. He'd already lost his friends and everything he loved. With nothing left to lose, they suddenly appear. Elijah stares at Joshua, eyes wide and speechless. Snapping back, he frantically apologizes and swears he regrets nothing. But she just sighs. He's missing the point. She admits she just loves seeing Joshua's love for them all. He loves her, but that love terrifies him. Minshu knows he can protect everyone. Ilya takes Joshua's hands, confessing she never knew he felt the same. Stunned, Joshua asks if she feels the same. Ilya smiles, fears gone now that this guy is here. Joshua's eyes widen as he sizes the man up. She confesses that by his side, she finally feels strong enough to protect everyone. Ilya begs for trust, pushing him to face their fears together. Smiling, she tells him to stop bottling up his worries. Joshua's already thinking ahead to their future enemies, the Orcs. The boy reveals Commander Bish wields demon horns and is lethal in battle. Eli panics, asking about the horns. Joshua warns they're harder than metal, storing and unleashing explosive power. Joshua hunts for a way to win, but the girl interrupts. Can those horns shatter the weapon and pierce the armor? Ilya hands the boy the trophy. He asks if the horn can pierce the beast's armor while Joshua stares in awe. Inside, a horn snapped right at the base. He recognizes Elia's special horn. She agrees it as priceless because her father died for it. Even better, this horn can save his friends' lives. Joshua freezes, eyes locked on the corner. He snaps back and takes the bundle from his friend. Driven by her promise, the boy vows to create his masterpiece. Ilya smiles and he dives straight into work. Joshua could forge a purple katana from metal instantly, but this demon S-horn was a whole different beast. No matter how much magic he pours in, it's still not enough. It worked. Joshua wields a legendary katana forged from a unique material. Ilya grabs the weapon Joshua claims, shreds hellish magic, and cuts through anything, thanking him with total confidence. She finally had the power to protect everyone. Joshua vows to fight by her side, and Elijah thanks him for the backup. She insists Joshua rest, and he agrees tonight. He'll finally sleep without a worry. Next day, Southern guests hit the lookout. A cat-eared stranger marches toward the village. But when Joshua questions the ears, Met shuts him down. It's impossible. Mercenaries are already rushing the gates. He recognizes the leader, Belon, but Kotalak ignores him, staring instead at the captive in Ilya's arms. Tearing up, Naya rushes to the child, shouting Liza as the girl sprints to meet her. The sisters rush into a tearful embrace. Joshua calls it. She's here. The balloon confirms the captive is his own daughter. Balon thought his daughter was dead, but she's standing right there. Remembering the path he once opened, he finally realizes how she reached the village. The boy asks why they were here. Kotalak stays silent, staring ahead. The guest delivers the pig general's message. Bitch orders him forward to swear loyalty to the governor general. Joshua wonders where they are, but Balin says they're 2 hours out. The army marches south as Kotalak silently turns to leave. Important words belong face to face. The mercenary orders his daughters and crew to gear up, rallying everyone for the trip home. Met's disappointed she didn't get a thank you. Joshua's clueless about Kotalak's real goal, but he's officially an enemy now. He just reminds them stick to the plan. Joshua spreads the word. A few stay behind, the rest evacuate now. The army charges toward Bish. Elijah calls out Joshua. She reports everyone's in position. He nods, thanking her. The coalition's plan is in motion. Demons and werewolves flank the road, archers guard the rear, and armored golems lead every squad. Met cheers that the fear of walking is gone, and Joshua agrees. Every trick has been played, but one last talk could stop the massacre. Waiting is the ultimate torture. Suddenly, a hand grabs the boy. Joshua looks up in Chizalai, spots Matt and Merc, and smiles. Orcs and mercenaries close and Belon stays unfazed, but Naya shyly looks away. The Orc commander eyes the strange group, demanding to know who they are. He's intrigued by this alliance of humans and half-humans. He introduces himself as the Fender rep Bishi Presses, and Joshua clarifies it's an alliance of half-people. Bilion looks away. Bisha knows they're all half-people like the castle folk. The Orc skips the talk and drops his demands. Bisha demands everyone bow as his vassals. Joshua calmly shuts him down. The alliance won to submit, but they aren't looking for a fight. Bish scoffs at the trade offer, but makes a deal 10 demons every year, or he starts a massacre. The Orc wants demon horns for a weapon, but Joshua shuts him down. The coalition won't hand anyone over. Bish snaps at the defiance. Balin steps in, calmly offering to take Joshua himself. This creation, Magic Master, forges weapons that outclass even the demons of Garana. The general doubts his identity, but Kotalak vouches for him. Belon declares, Joshua has no equal, human or half-human, in the entire world. Wait, are the mercenaries actually trying to help them? The surrender offer has him thinking. The more he thinks of his friends, the more this deal hooks him. Joshua approaches, but Elijah grabs him, vowing he won't walk alone. She'll visit, but Orsage is a cage. Joshua insists it's not that bad. Joshua says the half-humans always save him, fighting for him in the greater good. No matter the odds, their true hero. Desperate, Elijah screams he won't let the boy sacrifice himself. She rejects the Orc's demands, while rivals fight for the guy, leaving the princess pained by the drama. Talking like this in front of Joshua's wife is wrong. Matai admits she's a hypocrite for calling herself an adult, and Elia agrees. Joshua shuts it down. Now isn't the time. Giving Joshua up wasn't even an option. Chide's stunned by Elijah's collateral offer, but Bishi just laughs. He never wanted a deal in the first place. The general scoffs at the talk. He's taking the horns by force. He orders his orcs to bring him the heads of anyone who resists. She steps up, weapon raised, daring him to entertain her. She strikes with insane power, catching the orcs completely off guard. Bishi points at Met, demanding her horn, and orders his team to leave no survivors. Ordered to wipe out the hidden squads, Joshua realizes they're exposed, but the fight isn't over yet. Met takes the boy, freeing Ilya to charge into battle. Ilya nods, counting on his friend's support. Ilya charges, raining down relentless blows with zero hesitation. Everyone's a target, and the orcs are shaking in pure terror. The battle rages surrounded. Ilya becomes Joshua's armor. Bish rallies his troops, screaming that the enemy is just half human. The general orders his orcs to shame the enemy. Meat is confused while Joshua hears a roar from behind. Panicking, the orc screams for Bisha. In panic, the Kodaloks betrayed them, and the flank is under attack. The boy was reeling, unable to grasp Balin's motives. Merc sprints from the forest, screaming for Joshua, panicked. She's lost. Nobody saw this twist coming. Joshua still doesn't get Belan's goal. Belan tells Merc to warn everyone, don't touch the mercenaries. The plan is finally in motion, and she nods. The general's fuming as his army battles traitors in a full-blown war. He vows Belan will pay, but a massive rumble suddenly puts the orcs on edge. The hidden coalition forces finally strike, sending bloodthirsty half-humans into a total battle frenzy. Bishi warns enemies are near as a whirlwind slams the orcs. Asuka's air magic blinds them with dust and stones, but the general stays dead calm and unfazed. A battle cry signals the fight, snapping him back to reality. Ilya offers Bish a chance to retreat and live, but the general refuses mercy, claiming the orc throne for himself. Bishi vows to bury the demon lord, towering over a mountain of dead orc. The general vows he'll never lose to a mortal girl, but she smiles. She's a demon, and Bishi ripped her horn off long ago. The orc smirks, guessing the horn is active. Ilya calmly shuts him down. The girl flaunts her katana, calling it her horn, the one her father finally returned. Bishi's stunned, realizing exactly which era they're in. Bish recalls the demon leader fleeing like a coward and is hyped to meet his daughter, Ilya. She insists her father sacrificed the horn for her life, but the orc isn't buying it. Alter couldn't even save his own horn before bolting Ilya's fuming as the orc levels his weapon, forcing her to face him. Bishos, the demonic horn of Ilya's father, was stolen by orcs to torture half-humans. Now the orc warns Ilya she's next and her horn. Ilya snaps and charges, but his enchanted blade bounces off Bisha as the villain mocks him with a fake gasp. She fumes with rage and he's loving it. He mocks her red face, joking she doesn't even need her horn. Ilya strikes frantically, demanding her father's horn, but her blows bounce off Bish. The general just sneers, mocking her father for being weak. The orc failed to protect his people and himself, saving only his daughter's horn. He believes his survival will only bring more misfortune to his tribe. Ilya tears up, screaming that her father was never weak. Mated and Joshua try to calm the girl, but Bish keeps instigating. It's useless. Ilya is blinded by rage, hearing nothing. With a roar, he pours his last bit of a fatal delay costs the princess. The orc counters instantly, leaving Ilya wide open and out of time. Joshua uses craft magic to summon a wall. A massive blow smashes the barrier. It can hold with a roar. The defense shatters into shards. High-speed fragments shred Ilya, leaving him mangled. Joshua rushes to Ilya's side. She apologizes, but he's just glad she's alive. The general's armor is tough, but Joshua vows to find a way through. Joshua shuts her down. Hit the gap together and victory is theirs. Ilya stands, grips his blade, and shouts that together they'll crush the orc. Bish mocks their weakness, claiming they're doomed against the general, but a sudden explosion shuts him up, blasting right in his face. Joshua sniped a gunpowder bag, but the orc didn't flinch. Bisha just smirked. The trick was useless. The general claims he's the strongest, but his confidence vanishes instantly. Ilya strikes, but the orc parries. Bisha gloats as the princess fails again. The half-breed charges, but an orc shoves him back. Joshua scans the field. It's all going to plan. The coalition is taking control. Only Bisha's left to defeat and avenge Elijah's father. The general mocks him. A hornless demon is weak. Ilya grips his katana, blood seeping through his fingers. The boy screams she'll fail, begging her to retreat, but Ilya refuses to back down. The girl's strikes wipe the smirk off Bishaw's face, leaving him rattled. Enraged, he demands the source of her power as blood begins swirling around the blade. Met and Joshua realized he thinks the katana drinks its onerous blood. Ilya screams, panicking and shouting. Bish screams in denial, every single strike missed. The general declares himself the invincible Orc king, roaring as he swings his massive axe, but the metal cracks the second it hits her katana. Eli's final blow crushes the enemy's hope. Retribution is complete. Orcs watch in horror as their invincible leader takes a final, fatal blow. The commander drops before Ilya as his panicked men scream his name and titles. A shout cuts them off. She announces, Lady Ilya defeated Bish and orders the flag raised. Alliance flags soar, signaling victory. Beaten Orcs flee for their lives, while the survivors stand stunned, barely believing the nightmare is over. Joshua sighs, finally accepting the win. Demons, defenders, and tangos celebrate the win, while the cat creatures pack up. Joshua turns to Bilan. The kid says thanks, but the merc shrugs. He only backs winners, and Bilan knew who'd win from the start. Joshua's stunned. Did this really make the mercs side with the half-humans? Bilan grins, smugly claiming betrayal runs in Kotalak blood, but the boy just nods and thanks him anyway. Bilan explains gratitude is invisible, but the Kotalaks take everything by instinct. They've won, and Joshua is left speechless. It's over. After that betrayal, the demon lord and the people want to take them back. Homeless and alone, the mercenaries pay the price. The guy glares at Balon. He invites the Glank mercenaries to join the half-breed Fender Coalition, but Kodaalak is confused and clearly hates the idea. He finally smiles. The balloon admits his whimsical nature is why he can't make friends. Joshua assures them mercenaries are always welcome, even if they were just passing through. Everyone trades and cooperates. Balon smirks, warning the boy. Remember this? Kotalaki are selfish monsters. Watch out. The mercenaries pack up and head out as Joshua waves them off. Ilya stands frozen over the bishop's body, eyes shut and hands clasped in prayer. Joshua arrives, her eyes lighting up as he praises her orc kill. She smiles, admitting the beast was a real challenge. Joshua realized Beach wasn't just strong, he was a lethal fighter. Ilya triumphs against all odds, finally avenging his homeland. The princess admits she only won because of her friends. Without them, she was finished. Ilya clutches her father's horn through tears, whispering he's finally home. He grins. Balon took almost everything, but he left this horn behind. She offers Joshua the horn for the village again, but he refuses, telling Elijah to keep her treasure. She listens and agreed. Metzaz is reeling even without backup. The half-humans crush the orcs. Merc's impressed, but blames Joshua for the entire mess. The werewolf nuzzles Joshua, purring at his cleverness while Asuha from Wiz pets his head. Ilya smirks, knowing it's all real thanks to that guy. She credits the win to Joshua's help for the half-people, but he's not buying it. Everyone gave their all, so this win belongs to the whole team. Joshua smiles, giving his friends a heartfelt thanks. He invites them back to the settlement. One day later, life's back to normal. Tengu scouts report. The south is clear, and Joshua thanks them. Peace has finally arrived, and today, the whole village celebrates their victory. Prepping for the holiday, he scours the village, inspecting every yard to ensure they're fully stocked with food and treats. A strange noise snaps his attention. Up close, it's clear Met's the one forging these demons into elite killers. She's trashing the rookies for failing to take her down. But the second she rushes over, asking if he's really there for her. He awkwardly confirms. He checks the training supplies with the head coach. Met smiles, assuring him they're fully stocked. Joshua already handled everything. The man offers need anything else, just ask. She speaks up, but Joshua fails to guess her big secret. The guy turns red and stays silent. The boy shrugs, totally clueless. He tells her to whisper if she's uncomfortable, but she snaps, calling Joshua shameless. She's furious he's missing her obvious hint. Despite it all, she says yeah. The Met whispers its true desire, children. Joshua freezes, stunned by the blunt confession. She drops the final blow. She wants a big family. Joshua gasps and bolts, unable to handle the pressure. Annoyed, Joshua wonders why he's making Sarazu sounds, muttering that he's lost it. Merc asks what's wrong, but he blames the running, so she pivots to the Merc warns the meat's melting. The man laughs. He'll just find a bigger fridge. She agrees the boys are pro hunters. Now they just need to set a daily limit. Joshua agrees. No hunting limits means boars go extinct. They call Merc for the final say. She demands his trust, then drops a bombshell. Intrigued, the boy asks for details. Merc declares Joshua her future husband. They'll marry and have a kid to carry the bloodline. But the guy tries to protest. Merc cuts him off, revealing Joshua is about to make her an offer. That's for the future, she explains. Werewolves only marry as adults. Forced to agree, he's still clueless why this matters. Joshua's baffled, praying Merc finds a replacement before he grows up. Too late, the shapeshifter declares the decision final and the path set. Merc pulls Joshua close, claiming him. He panics, but she's just marking him with her scent, the ultimate proof he's hers. Merc's still hugging when a shout rings out and a massive wind blast slams the pair. Asua sticks the landing, catching Joshua's impressed gaze. She jokingly credits her staff and tells him to watch her new skills. Joshua smirks, thinking he's seen it all, but Asuha promises the best is yet to come and tells him to keep up. Merc's annoyed that Tango is holding her back. Confused, Asuka doesn't see the problem. She just needs to show her results. The shapeshifter bets Joshua returns in seconds. She accepts instantly, igniting her magic staff. Swirling air engulfs the boy, lifting him high. Joshua begs Tango to stop. Asua chases Joshua, racking up achievements and revealing her upgraded wind magic. She's no longer just flying solo, now she can carry others too. They soar to the clouds, revealing a stunning view of the settlement that leaves Joshua breathless. The boy's mesmerized by the view as Asuka reveals the village has been booming ever since Joshua arrived. He crafts with magic while the peasants gather the materials. She realizes Joshua is actually surprisingly modest. Tenku smiles at Asua's modesty. She's never been selfish. If she finally asks for a favor, will Joshua grant it? He doesn't get the plan, but agrees anyway. Asuka's certain he can handle it. Asua proposes marriage like every other girl, but Joshua shuts her down with cold logic. She insists she's different, vowing to care for him and never cause trouble. She promises no more public drama and pulls him into a tight hug. She vows to keep things hidden, but her twisted idea of invisible scares Joshua more than the plan itself. He finally gets it, but the timing is trash. Asuka won't back down, pouring her heart out and demanding he accept her love. Joshua's cut short as a hideous horror crawls from the dark, a grotesque, unblinking mask of an ancient idol. He can't explain it. A lethal aura just pierced the air. He looks back and spots a monster watching from him. Joshua freezes. It's like the devil himself is staring into his soul. Dread hits him as he realizes the air is no longer holding him up. Joshua plummets past his friends, desperately scanning the nightmare looming ahead, a face from forgotten legends. Damn, Hanya. Before the boy could blink, Hanya was already calling his name. Aaliyah's words break Joshua. He sinks into a calm fall, accepting his end, until a familiar voice pierces the watery void. A strange voice calls Joshua's name. He blinks, struggling to remember where he is and what's happening. He finally wakes up to a beaming Aaliyah, shocked he actually survived. Princess reveals fluffy animals saved him from the blast with their soft fur. Joshua wipes his face, exhausted. He saw something horrific, but the memory's gone. He scans the area in terror. Where did everyone go?